The following is a special production of WOBL, WDLW Sports, the Lorain County Sports Network. On air, online, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on the app. The Lorain County Sports Network is your home for high school football. Welcome to October football. It's hard to believe, but the playoffs are just 4 weeks away. Here's hoping your favorite team is still in the mix. We'll start looking more at computer points and conference standings in the next couple of weeks. Actually, that starts tonight. This is the Stewarts TV and Appliance pregame show on the Lorain County Sports Network, WOBL, WDLW, YouTube, and on Facebook. I'm Don Vincent, and I'm glad you're with us tonight. This week, we'll focus a little more on conference standings while we look at the schedule tonight, including the games you can catch on the network. We'll start the discussion and our coverage in the Sandusky Bay Conference, specifically in the Bay Division. One of the unique features of the SBC is that there are only 5 teams in the division, so you end up with teams filling in almost all season long, and thus the conference games don't always line up. Currently, Edison and Huron sit at the top, followed by Bellevue and Port Clinton. The Vermilion Sailors haven't played a conference game yet. That changes this week. The 4-2 Sailors host the Port Clinton Redskins. The Skins are 3-3, 1-1. Pretty confident that the Sailors will hang a multiple score loss on Port Clinton and start making noise in the conference. You can check this one out on YouTube. Search Lorain County Sports Network. Bull Barch and Max Drummond will be on the call. In the Lake Erie League, the teams at the top, Mentor and Strongsville, aren't really a huge surprise. By the way, they play each other this week. That's kind of interesting. Euclid, Brunswick, Cleveland Heights, and Medina are in the middle of the pack in that order. Unfortunately, 1-5 Lorain sits at the bottom of the conference standings along with their opponents this week, 1-5 Shaker Heights. The Red Raiders are likely favored in this one, but I'm really not convinced of that. I like the Titans in this one. The Elyria Catholic Panthers are 3-3 overall, 1-0 in the North Coast Conference. They sit at the top of the league along with Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy. Padua, Holy Name, and Lake Catholic follow them, and I expect those standings to change a lot over the next couple weeks. This week, one of those teams at the bottom visits Dan Reeser Stadium to take on EC. 4-2, 0-1 Lake Catholic will take a shot at the Panthers' recent success. And I guess I like their chances. Richard Flowers of Lorain County Friday Night Lights on Facebook will be on site for reports on this one and the rest of the games around the county all night long. In the Lorain County League, there's a bit of a logjam at the top. In truth, we all know there's a standout, and you know who it is. 3-3, 3-0 Firelands. One of those top 3 welcomes Black River, who at 2-4, 1-2 sits in the middle of the pack. The 2-4, 0-3 Overland Phoenix head east to Columbia Station to play the 6-0, 3-0 Columbia Raiders. Yeah, that's the team I referenced earlier. This could be a rough night for the Phoenix. The other 2 games in the conference are on the network. The third of the 3 at the top, the Keystone Wildcats, are 4-2, 3-0 in conference play. They visit Wellington to take on the 3-3, 1-2 Dukes. Keystone's been rolling lately, and unless Wellington plays an incredible game, that may continue. We'll have it for you on the second of our Lorain County Sports Network streams on YouTube with Dave Rivera and Jared Viancourt. The last game of the conference is on WOBL, 107.7 FM, 1320 AM, WOBLradio.com, as well as the app. The Brookside Cards are still looking for their first win this season. They head to Lorain and Tom Hoke Field to do battle with the 1-5, 1-2 Clearview Clippers. I think this is a good game. Gary Tollett and Brian DeVito will be on the WOBL radio call this evening. We'll wrap things up by checking out the Southwestern Conference. No surprise who's at the top. The Avon Eagles are undefeated in the conference. They host Midview tonight. The Middies are 3-3, 0-3, and are hitting this game at a tough time. That said, is there really ever a good time to play an SWC conference game? The answer to that is no. The other undefeated SWC team plays in Cuyahoga County tonight. The overall 3-3, 3-0 in conference play Avon Lake Shoremen travel to Olmsted Falls to play the 3-3, 1-2 Bulldogs. This will be a close one. So close that I wouldn't be surprised if it goes into OT. 5-1, 2-1 North Ridgeville, and 4-2, 2-1 Berea Mid-Park sit at 3-4 in the conference. They also play this week. This is just as close as the last one. Look for an extra point maybe to be the difference. The final game of the night is on WDLW, 98.9 FM, 1380 AM, WDLWradio.com, as well as the app. Features the 3-3, 1-2 Amherst Comets heading to Elyria to play the 0-6, 0-3 Pioneers. I'll be there along with Dave Grenczynski. This one might be over a little bit early, but a couple explosive plays by the Pioneers might help the cause. Next week, we'll look at the computer standings a little bit more in depth. Right now, though, we're a couple minutes away from sending you to your game on the network. The Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner is next. We'll chat with both coaches from your game before we head out live to the stadium for Week 7 action. Just a recap of the games on the network. On the streams, Port Clinton at Vermilion and Keystone at Wellington. Check those games out on the Lorain County Sports Network on YouTube. On Lorain County Friday Night Lights on Facebook, it's Lake Catholic at Elyria Catholic. On the Cool Cat, Amherst visits Elyria, and on Lorain County Country, Brookside will be at Clearview. The Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show will continue right after this.
Anchors away in Shiver Me Timbers. It's homecoming here at Sailor Nation up in Vermilion, where tonight the Sailors will play host to the Port Clinton Redskins, and we're happy to have it for you on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week, live and free on the Lorain County Sports Network on YouTube. Greetings, salutations, and welcome into our Green Path CPA Solutions broadcast booth. Andy Bolbarch joined alongside the rest of the Lorain County's four horsemen. We have got Max Drummond providing the colorful analysis all throughout the night. When this man is in Vermilion, he goes by many nicknames. He's always El Capitan. He's always our director, but tonight he's also the exterminator up here in the booth in Vermilion. He's Edwin Vereen, and we've got Sam Sovacool working the cameras tonight. We've got you locked into the Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show. Shop smart, shop local, shop Stewart's TV and Appliance in Elyria. Max, great to be joined by you as always. Coming into the action here tonight, Vermilion 4-2, coming off a loss against Norwalk last week, and Port Clinton enters an even 500 at 3-3. They fell to Huron last week, 35-21. The playoff picture just continues to take shape, and that makes this Week 7 matchup all the more important for both teams.
Yeah, very excited to open up high school football in the month of the month of October now, as we get deeper into the year, and a pair of teams that are going to be have a little more fuel in their spirits and their fires as they get ready to try to bounce back, like you said, off of some losses and try to fix a few things that went wrong a week ago. And also in Sandusky Bay Conference play, it always adds a little bit extra as well.
Well, we mentioned a little bit earlier, this is a big one. Let's talk about the field conditions in this one too, Max, because we've been blessed with great weather every single week here in the high school football season. It just seems like we get the best on Friday nights as far as the weather and the field conditions go.
And it's going to keep going that way. Right now, 74 degrees, and we're actually going to get pretty close to the sunset around kickoff at 7:07, and not too much to speak of wind-wise, maybe 5 miles an hour, so it shouldn't affect too much in the kicking game as those field conditions brought to you by Lorain County Clerk of Courts, Tom Orlando, a proud sponsor of high school athletics.
Well, let's look at the injury update for both teams. The injury update brought to you by Elyria Jewelry and Repair, treating customers like family. Well, a big one back for the Vermilion Sailors, and right guard and starting linebacker Sean Brunell. Last time we saw these guys a few weeks ago against Elyria Catholic, they certainly missed his presence. He's back in the starting lineup for tonight. And on the other side, well, we never got clarification on this, but there were some injury concerns surrounding Malachi Pinkleton. If he doesn't play in this one, that is a huge loss for Port Clinton.
Yeah, their top rusher, and honestly, it's what helps a young quarterback kind of get comfortable in game situations. Not that he'll need too much help as he's kind of gotten in a rhythm, but we'll hear and learn more about him as we go on here in the pregame show.
They had the coin toss just a bit ago where the captains were out there exchanging pleasantries. The captains are brought to you by North Coast Insurance Group. See Robert H. Garcia, your local Allstate agent in Avon. And for the Vermilion Sailors, the captains are Brock Myers, Evan Coons, Sean Brunell, and Chad Ellis. And as we talk about that playoff picture as it continues to take shape here at Vermilion coming into play tonight, the 8th seed Division 4 Region 14. So if the playoffs were to begin today, they would be in. And for Port Clinton, right now they're on the outside looking in 15th in Division 5 Region 18. The coaches can say that doesn't mean as much right now, right? They try to let that not be a distraction. But the bottom line, Max, is you know the kids are paying attention to that.
Yeah, especially if you were a part of a team that made a playoff run last season, like Vermilion did, for example, and you want to do whatever you can to get back to that moment.
All right, well, let's take a look at who will be officiating tonight's game. The officials are brought to you by Stringer, and Gager, providing personal injury, family law, and workers' compensation cases. That is Stringer, and Gager. The referee is Eric Metzger. Umpire Christopher Mackey. Line judge Chris Rahel. Head linesman is James Sharp. Back judge is Will McCrone. And the center judge is Jonathan Dana. All right, let's step aside and take a quick timeout here on our Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show. When we come back, we will hear from both head coaches on our Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner today and tomorrow. Your partner for growth, that's Buckeye Community Bank. Kickoff is just about 20 minutes away here in Vermilion between the Sailors and the Port Clinton Redskins on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. Your local, reliable, trusted lender is Legacy Home Finance. We'll be back in just a moment here on YouTube on our Lorain County Sports Network Game of the Week. Time to catch up with the coaches on our Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. And first up, we've got Port Clinton head coach Eric Lutold. Coach, we certainly appreciate a few moments of your time. And for those of us here in Lorain County who haven't had the chance to see you guys play this year, let's get a pretty good glimpse as to some of the kids who have come to the forefront statistically for you guys. And we'll begin with the quarterback. You guys have a sophomore there in Landon Lease. Coach, what are some things that he's done throughout the course of the season that's really caught your eye?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thanks for having us on and letting me talk about our kids a little bit. But Landon has done a great job. You know, he was not initially going into the season anticipating to be our starting quarterback due to injuries. He has stepped into that role and done a great job for us. He's continued to improve each and every week throughout the course of the season in the areas that we have focused on with him. But no, he's done a great job for us.
Let's talk about that receiving corps. You know, you guys certainly seem to have a pretty experienced group, but you also have some younger guys mixed in there as well. Who or what stands out when you look at the group of receivers that he's thrown to?
That's been, I would say, an area of strength of ours moving into the season. We knew we had a litany of receivers that we could lean on. Gavin Cornell kind of stands out a little bit right now. He's done some great things for us, as well as some of the other receivers such as Martez Wilson. Elliot Laird has stepped into some key roles, as well as Christian Miller. You know, that's been a group that we've tried to lean on throughout the course of the season, and they've done some great things, especially with a young quarterback. We've asked those kids to step up into some tough positions and really help him out. So they've done a good job.
I know you guys you're looking to achieve balance, and you certainly have done that to some degree as well. Malachi Pinkleton really at the forefront of your running game. You know, what are some things he's done throughout the course of the season that's really pleased you?
Yeah, again, you know, talking about a young quarterback in there calling plays for us and helping us out. Kai has done a great job of leading the charge and helping establish a run game. You know, credit to the offensive line for allowing us to lean on them throughout the course of the season at various times. And Kai does a great job of reading holes and hitting them and making some big runs for us.
What are some words that come to mind when you talk about that group up front? It seems like you guys have a decent chunk of underclassmen up front, but you also have a little bit of experience there too. What are some words that come to mind?
They're a gritty group of kids. They come to work every day and they're tough. They work hard. You know, we've got, like you said, we've got some young kids that we've had to lean on throughout the course of the season. They've done a good job of jumping in there and getting reps for us, as well as some of the veterans and returners have done a great job of improving each and every day.
Who are some of those individuals that stand out to you?
Cameron Bohr, our center, I would say, really helps lead that unit for us. We have Eli Cuevas at guard, Simon Mashuk at guard, as well as our 2 tackles do a great job for us. Julian Curry as well as Axel Bloom inside. Those guys, 4 out of the 5 are returning lettermen for us and got reps. Many of those guys were young underclassmen last year, and so they've continued to develop through the off season and really become a unit that we've had to lean on.
Let's take a look at the other side of the ball, Coach. I know we've probably talked about a lot of these kids already because you do have a decent chunk that do play both ways. But what would you say your identity has been so far this season defensively?
Yeah, one of the things that our defensive coaches lean on and ask them to do is to play fast and physical football, and they've done that to a degree throughout the course of the season, and when we've struggled at playing fast and physical, we've struggled on that side. But they do a great job of really trying to take away the run, and hopefully looking forward a little bit. Hopefully they're able to do that a little bit this week, given the matchup that we have, and yeah, they've done a great job for us.
We'll come back around to that Vermilion matchup here in just a moment. It is homecoming for the Sailors tonight, and I know it certainly can be exciting for visiting teams going into that environment with a chance to kind of wreck it, so to speak. Coach, does that factor into this at all? I'm sure that didn't factor in as far as preparation for the Sailors goes, but how much of the emotion do you guys hope to play off of going into that tonight?
Yeah, we try to take each and every matchup the same way and just end up 1-0 at the end of the night. I'll be honest with you, we did not know that it was their homecoming until you mentioned it. So as far as how much does that factor in, certainly we want to walk out with a win, whether or not it's homecoming or any other special night for an opponent. I guess to some degree it really doesn't matter. We want to focus on what we do and how we do it, and hopefully we can end up 1-0.
Well, and of course, tonight taking on the Sailors, a team that certainly had some ups and downs, but they're playing pretty well right now, despite the loss against Norwalk last week. Coach, as you look at those guys on film and on paper, what are some things that the Sailors do really well that concerns you a bit going into tonight's game?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think what stands out is their running back. They have a heck of a running back there, and they lean on him. They do a great job of running the ball. They're a physical football team, and then on the defensive side, they are aggressive in what they do. They definitely put the other team behind the sticks, and they do a great job of stopping, of making them play a little bit left-handed, if you will, and taking away what the other team's base plays are. So they're a good football team. Coach DeFucci has done a great job over there, and his team continues to improve throughout the course of the year. We got a tough challenge ahead of us.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck against the Sailors later on tonight.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Coach. Again, that's Port Clinton head coach Eric Lutolt joining us here on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. We'll step aside and take a quick timeout and come back with more right after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Rolling along here on our Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner, we're talking now with Bill DeFucci, the head coach of the Vermilion Sailors. Coach, as always, we appreciate a few moments, and let's dive into where you guys are at in the season coming into Week 7. Couple of losses on the year, but certainly there are some lessons that can be learned in a loss. You guys have had a couple over the last few weeks. Coach, what do you think the kids learned in the losses to both Norwalk and Elyria Catholic?
I think the biggest thing that our boys took away was the details. We talk about how important football is and doing your 1/11th and the little details, misplacement of your hands or not stepping on the right foot, and you get called with a penalty because you're out of position, and those penalties negate big plays and in last week's situation, took touchdowns off the board. So they understand kind of the preparation and what's important when you talk about everything matters from every position, from all players 1 through 11 on a Friday night.
When you guys are going well, that running game is working incredibly well for you guys. Coach, And what areas do you think you guys have evolved specifically in your ground game?
I think just the tenacity with which we conduct ourselves. We're very good. We've gotten very good the last couple of years as far as getting to our assignments and understanding the schemes and our importance and our position and how we're trying to open up running lanes. We've been very fortunate to have a very good stable of running backs as well. From one class to the next class as we go down, we're continuing developing good talent at that running back position and offensive line. I mean, let's face it, the run game doesn't work unless the O-line is doing their job up front. And I think they've done a fantastic job this year in opening up holes for the stable of backs that we have.
Can you think of anybody up front that really has kind of gone above and beyond? I know that's a collective effort up there, but do any kids come to mind when you think about guys who have really kind of grown a lot throughout the course of the season?
Yeah, certainly it's our three seniors up front. I mean, I've got two senior guards in Sean Brownell and Chad Ellis. And even Cole Reaney fits in that equation, a guard for us there. But Aiden Saunders is our tight end. Those three seniors have been in the program, have been in the scheme now since I've taken over out here, and they have done a fantastic job of displaying the expectations of what it means to play offensive line here in Vermilion. And we've got three young sophomores on the offensive line to start for us. So they've kind of taken them under their wing and nurtured them along and explaining and showing them by physicality, how to show them how to play physical, mentally what it takes. So certainly those three guys up front for us mean the world in the success of our offensive line.
Homecoming tonight, and obviously there's a different set of circumstances that enter the equation because of that. That's also altered your practice schedule throughout the course of the week. Can you give us an idea as to how that's kind of altered your schedule as far as practice goes leading up to tonight's game?
Yeah, certainly as coaches and players, we're creatures of habit. So any deviation, a day off from school for a holiday or an adjustment in the schedule because of homecoming, it certainly changes our approach to the week, and we've had to adapt. And for example, for us, we typically do a Thursday night practice under the lights. It's our perfect Thursday. We're now practicing after school last night on Thursday just to make sure that we got that practice in. And it's just a different approach. It's a little tweak to the schedule, but the kids have typically responded well to it, and it's something that we just gravitate towards.
For those who haven't experienced that perfect Thursday, can you give us an idea as to what all goes into that perfect Thursday practicing under the lights the night before the game?
Yeah, sure. This goes back to when I played in Vermilion. It was something that we did here in Vermilion, and I kind of made sure that it was in the program here when I came back to lead the program here. And for us, it's a Thursday night practice. It's on the game field. It's under the lights. Should be very little coaching that night. They know their assignments, and we work through every scheme of the game in a chronological order as if it was a game night, just to kind of quick on the field, getting in and out of our units, getting our units on the field, off the field, running a handful of plays, and just kind of getting them prepared mentally under the lights on the game field for what's going to happen on Friday night.
And tonight you're taking on Port Clinton, a team that's had a bit of a back and forth season, started out pretty well, but they've fallen on some tough times the last few weeks. Coach, what are some things you're expecting from Port Clinton heading into tonight's game?
I certainly expect them to do what they do. They're a little more heavy pass and run, but they do mix the run in effectively. So I think we're going to get, another tough SBC opponent. We talk about this week in and week out with our squad that, this year the SBC is as balanced as I think it's been in a long time. And, our boys could finish the season 4-6. They could finish 8-2. So I think Port Clinton's going to come to town. It's a homecoming game for us. They know what's on the table, and they're going to do what they do.
Well, Coach DeFucci, as always, we certainly appreciate a few moments of your time, and we wish you the best of luck against Port Clinton tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys and everything you do for us.
Thank you, Coach. Again, that's Vermilion head coach Bill DeFucci joining us here on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. We'll step aside and take a quick timeout and come back with more right after.
There was the Vermilion Sailors Marching Band giving us the national anthem, brought to you every week by the U.S. Air Force, as recruits should report to the Avon office. Big thank you to them, as we will bring you back now into our Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show. Shop smart, shop local. Shop Stewart's TV and Appliance in Elyria. As you may have heard there, we have a update on our coin toss, as I'll welcome back Bull into the booth for.
And I appreciate that, my friend. Coin toss brought to you by the Lorain County Visitors Bureau, celebrating 200 years together. That's the Lorain County Visitors Bureau. Port Clinton won the toss, and they will receive to begin the festivities here tonight. Going to be very interesting to see how that plays out here, Max, and we'll get into that here with our keys to the game, brought to you by Williams Brothers Builders, performing site work, concrete, and carpentry with their own forces. That's Williams Brothers Builders.
Well, we'll start with Port Clinton, since they'll be getting the ball to start the game, as they've got an explosive offense, a lot of passing to be done through the air. And in their perfect world, they turn this game into a track meet. They make Vermilion try to keep up and let their offense lead the way, because their defense has been they have struggled at times this year, to put it simply. And as for Vermilion, you want to keep this game in a phone booth. You want to control the time of possession, keep that offense off the field, keep some inconsistency there, and try not to let them get into a rhythm.
An interesting key, because they certainly want to keep this thing in a phone booth. They also want their version of Clark Kent to come busting out of that phone booth, right?
Certainly.
And Evan Coons, who has had a sensational season so far. I mean, video game type numbers, Max. Through 7 games this season, Coons has gone over 1,000 yards, and he's found the end zone a dozen times on the ground. He's averaging nearly 12 yards per pop. Yeah,
and he really set the tone back in week 2 when we had him on another part of our family of channels on WOBL on our radio station there, where he just dominated Firelands, and he's not had a letdown since, really, as they'll continue, I imagine, to try to lean on him. And it'll be interesting to see how they manage those snaps, but obviously to this point he's been able to handle it, and he it increases his role from last year, where he was maybe a 3-headed monster, and now he's that lead back.
Well, let's take a look at our starting lineups tonight, brought to you by Garrick's Tavern. Post-game meals just taste better at Garrick's Tavern in Grafton. We'll take a look at the Vermilion offense. Brock Myers, receiver, is senior, 6'3", 195. Micah Smith, the other receiver, number 18, a sophomore, 5'9", $160. The running backs, Evan Coons, we just talked about him, a senior, 5'11", 200-pounder. The quarterback is Drake Cook, 6'4", 210-pound junior. The other tailback is Zach Worth, a senior, 5'8", $180. Tight end, Aiden Saunders, 6'1", 200-pound senior. Up front, left tackle, Trenton Garcia, a sophomore, 6 feet tall, 230 pounds. Left guard, Chad Ellis, 5'10", 210. He's a senior. The center is Trey Colahan, 6 feet 2 inches tall, 250 pounds. He's just a sophomore. At right guard, we talked about the return of this young man coming off injury, Sean Brownell. He's a senior, 5'9", $195. And the right tackle, Luke Richardson. He's a big fella at 6'7", 245, and only a sophomore.
Yeah, and now we'll look over at the Port Clinton defense, as we'll put it together with some of their more prominent players through the stats. Starting up front on the defensive line, Wyatt Sifke, a 6'3" senior. Then moving over along there, Caleb Spencer. He'll wear number 56, also a senior. And Julian Curry at the other edge, a 6'1" junior. Then looking up at the linebackers, Lucas Bodie, 5'9" junior, as well as Trey Armendariz, wearing number 14, a senior, and a junior, Beckett Meisner, closing out the linebacking core. And moving up to the secondary, where we'll see quite a number of guys back there, starting with the corners, Martez Wilson, as well as Gavin Cornell. And at the safety spots, they may run anywhere from 2 to 3 throughout the night. Brody Bollinger wearing number 2, Jace Cornell, 5'11" junior, and Aiden Meister, a 5'11" junior, wearing number 6.
Boy, how about that national anthem from the Vermilion Marching Band? I had a chance to listen to that at ground level. That was really impressive, put together very well. Again, national anthem brought to you by the United States Air Force. Interested in becoming a recruit? Report to the U.S. Air Force office in Avon. Moments away from our opening kickoff, which comes your way courtesy of Lorain County Community College. Kick off your future with LCCC. That's Lorain County Community College. We saw Vermilion in Elyria Catholic a few weeks ago, a game where they were kind of shocked by the Panthers in a 17-0 setback, one of just 2 losses on the year for Vermilion. And this is crunch time for the Sailors. It doesn't get a whole lot easier after this. They've got Huron next week. They still have Edison left on the docket, so they've got some really important games, Max.
Yeah, and you know, the one thing you may be able to take away from that game against the Panthers is that they were met and matched physically, and the physicality that you're going to need in a conference and division that they're in. It may serve as a positive by the end of the season, hopefully, and they're able to turn that around and grow from it.
I think it goes without saying that for Port Clinton, I mean, they've got a pretty tough slate these next few weeks here. They have to win out to have any chance at getting in that field of 12 in Division 5, Region 18. That's a pretty tough slate, too. You know, we talk about how going from 16 to 12 typically a pretty good thing, especially when you look at a lot of the regions around the state. There are some, though, that might serve as some exceptions. Time to get this party started. Adam Fitt, 5'8", 165-pound junior, will kick it away with his left foot. High end over end. Micah Smith retrieves it right around the 9-yard line, takes it down the middle of the field. Smith gets popped right around the 30-yard line. Boy, he took a shot, but he picked up about 21 yards on the return.
Yeah, Shaden Pollard got down there pretty quickly, just a junior, and making the most of his playing time right there on special teams to blow that one up. And, you know, they'll mark it down right around just shy of the 25, it looks like.
So we'll get our first look at this Vermilion Sailor offense. No guesswork here. You know what they want to do. You know what they like to do, and that is run the ball quite a bit. They are going to spot the ball officially at the 27 of Vermilion. Trey Cooks running out of the shotgun, and the give will go to Coons. Coons gets around the corner left side, stepped out of one tackle, and then he was brought down by the defensive end, Wyatt Sifke, after he had picked up about 3 yards.
And that's going to be very important throughout the night. The first guy that gets there, you're not going to get him down every time, but at least, especially in early downs, try your best to have the first guy getting there, get him to the ground, and maybe get them behind schedule.
They say he went down at the 29, so it's a 2-yard pickup for Evan Coons. We mentioned the numbers for him on the year. Last time we saw him, though, the Elyria Catholic defense did a good job of containing him. One of the only teams that's done that this season. They'll give it to Coons again. He gets by that first wave, and he's tackled at the 35. A 6-yard scamper on second down, making it third down and short.
And there doesn't have to be much of a crease for him to get through to find some extra yards right there. He tried to go in through the left side, and it looked like things had closed down right at the line of scrimmage, but he's able to plunge his way forward up to the 35.
Well, this Redskin defense has surrendered a lot of points throughout the year. Trying to hold strong here on third down and short. It'll be third down and about 2 for the Sailors. They call the number this time of Zach Worth, and Worth is able to punch his way up to the 37. From here, it looks like he's got enough for a first down, and indeed he does. So he picks up about 2.5 on third down.
A nice change of pace there just to get somebody else a turn with the rock, and he's able to power his way through. He may not be known for the size and the strength that Evan Coons is, but still made it look pretty easy there trying to pick up that third and short.
Come out in the eye now. Coons is the fullback here, and they've got Worth lined up as the tailback with Hooks coming up under center. Put the tight end, Saunders in motion. He's on the right side, and they hand it off to Worth. Worth able to weave his way through the middle, getting up to the 40-yard line, so it's about a 3-yard pickup.
And things a little chippy at the end of that play there, but looks like they're going to steer clear of any potential flags. But a good job there. You mentioned Saunders coming across in motion that time. He was able to wash down the defensive line there and open up a small lane to run through, but just good rallying by that Port Clinton defense.
Last week, the Sailors fell 14-9 to Norwalk, and that was a bit of a surprise to a lot of people. Trying to get back on the right track tonight. They'll send a man in motion near side of the right, and this time it'll be taken straight up the middle to about the 42-yard line. Not much room to operate there. Just a couple of yards on that pickup.
And these are spots you definitely want to try to avoid if you're the Sailors. Obviously, last season they had Aaron Mathis at quarterback, and he was a great run threat, still presented a bit through the air. Drake Hooks, it's been a modest season passing so far, but you definitely don't want to put him in any too tough of a situations and trying to get too much back in one play.
Worth has been the ball carrier the last 2 plays. It's third down here. They'll send a man in motion. We've got whistles, and it looked like somebody may have moved early. So now it'll make it third down and long for Vermilion. And this is not a situation they want to be in, not a situation anybody wants to be in, but for a team that likes to run the ball the way the Sailors do, they're a little behind schedule here. It's 3rd down and 11.
Yeah, and even with the strength of the running game, you can't really employ play action here because as good as Evan Coons is in some of those ball carriers, nobody's going to really buy it on 3rd and 11.
In the passing game, they've called the number of both Brock Myers and Micah Smith quite a bit. Myers, leading receiver, he's caught 16 balls for 328 yards. Hooks will drop back. Now he's going to step up. He's in some trouble. He's able to get up to the 40-yard line, tackled right along the numbers. They may give him the 41, but that's still nowhere near enough. That'll bring up 4th down.
And with how quick the pass rush was getting home, it almost appeared like there may have been a screen being set up, but definitely came down to Port Clinton sending an extra rusher and just not enough guys there to handle it for Vermilion.
Back to receive this for Port Clinton is Christian Miller, a sophomore, 5'6", $150. Hooks will get this punt away, a low kick. It'll bounce at about the 30-yard line. Miller has trouble picking it off the turf, and he has to fall on it at the 24-yard line. He wanted to scoop and then do some damage with that, but he just couldn't handle that cleanly.
Yeah, beautiful punt there, even if it looked ugly at the end. That was the idea of it, and very important because Miller, he's got 3 touchdowns in the return game this year across punts and kickoffs, so definitely a guy you don't want getting his hands on the ball too often in that phase of the game.
This is an offense in Port Clinton that likes to use a lot of receivers, none, though, having a better year than the senior Gavin Cornell. He's caught 24 balls, 9 of those touchdowns for 444 yards.
He's definitely an X factor, and right now there's nobody across from. I'm sure that'll change here shortly.
Beckett Meisner is the tailback here. We mentioned we weren't quite sure about the status of Malachi Pinkleton, who had paced their ground game. Sophomore quarterback Lee. So he'll give it to Meisner. He's stuck in the backfield. Nowhere for him to go as he was met about a yard or two before the line of scrimmage. That was nose tackle Chad Ellis, who put the stick on him for a loss of 2.
And he just came from the backside. Unfortunately for Port Clinton, Eli Cuevas right there, not able to get a hold of him.
Lease on a quarterback keeper will work his way up to the 28-yard line. So he picks up about 4 yards on that, maybe 5. And
employing a good bit of tempo here.
Back at the line very quickly. Lease will clap his hands together, play action fake, rolls out right, throws right, caught by Miller. Miller is dropped by Zach Worth at the 25-yard line. The Sailor defense swarming to the ball very quickly, and it'll be a quick offensive series for Port Clinton.
And you can tell that's a play Miller's probably used to being able to make the first guy miss, get around him, but great job breaking down by Zach Worth and getting him to the ground, not falling for any of the head fakes.
Terrific series for the Sailor defense. Now they've got Micah Smith, a big part of that return game. They'll send this snap back, and this will be punted away past the 50-yard line, bounces at the 45, and Micah Smith quickly backs away from that. That'll die at about the 34. Pretty good-looking punt by Gavin Cornell as he was able to flip the field a little bit. And Vermilion takes over for their second offensive series. They'll begin at their own 34-yard line.
And now each side they've been able to feel each other out a little bit. And for Vermilion, like you mentioned in that first drive, Evan Coons actually splitting the carries with a few other guys. So we'll see if that was just their way of setting some things up, if he'll get more of the workload here. But definitely still in a good spot with 6.5 to go in the opening quarter.
They're able to move the ball a little bit. But again, in that last third down scenario, they were forced with a 3rd and 11 situation. Trey Cooks under center, pitches left side to Coons. Trying it around the edge. He's able to cut back inside the numbers, tackled at the 39, but there's a flag back around the 33-yard line. And it looks like this is coming back. It is a hold against Vermilion, says our head referee, Eric Metzger.
Well, and it was definitely a good call to use some eye candy, motion a man over before the play. Unfortunately, though, for Vermilion, Trey Armendariz over there on that defense, he set the edge so well that it led to the penalty. Now they're way behind the sticks here.
Well, trying to find a rhythm offensively. It's been tough for both sides to do in the early stages of this one. 6 minutes to go on this first quarter clock. They have Coons lined up in a wing on the right side. Hooks will take the snap, rolls out right, throws right, caught by Coons. Coons able to get past the 30, turns the corner, knocked out of bounds. He's able to pick up first down. I should say he picks up big yardage, not first down yardage. And he was dragged out of bounds. He almost went down right around the benches, which are a good 5 or 6 yards at the very least removed from the playing field.
Yeah, that's a good spot from you before the play that he was in that wing spot. And it's a creative way to get him the ball in an untraditional way. The defense may not be expecting that. He almost looked like a blocker there to start, and he just slips out. Nobody accounts for him. That's the last guy you want to leave alone.
They picked up all that they lost and then some on the penalty. He's in the wing again, near side to the right. They'll send a man in motion. And they're going to give this one to Kaiser. Kaiser steps out of a tackle at the 45, and he's dropped to the 47 for a first down. That's Isaac Kaiser, just a sophomore at 6'2", 195.
Yeah, and they used some misdirection there beautifully. Looked like Micah Smith, the one coming in motion, as he may have attracted some of the defenders' eyes, and then they, like you said, just slipped Kaiser through the middle of the line there.
Hooks rolls out to the left. Fires left side, the pass is caught, and then slipping and falling at the line of scrimmage as soon as he made that catch was Joe Schaub. One of a good chunk of seniors on this Sailor roster.
And even if he's able to catch that in stride, it was going to be tough to get away, as there were a few different guys on that defense closing in on him, just keeping everything in front of them right now.
2nd down and 9 coming up for Vermilion. Close to midfield. Neither team has been on, or rather has been in, the opposing team's territory. They'll give it to Micah Smith. Smith on the end around, able to get inside Redskin territory, tackled at the 46. A pretty good chunk there on 2nd down, and they're staring down the barrel of 3rd down and a long 3.
And sometimes when you get receivers in those situations trying to get them open on jet sweeps and out on the outside, sometimes they don't read their blocks as well as the running backs do, but right there, Smith did it to perfection, following a couple guys like Sean Brownell and I believe Trey Callahan out there.
That's an offensive line that moves very well. We saw that a few weeks ago against Elyria Catholic. They'll pitch it right side to Coons. Coons turns it up the field past the 45. He's off to the races down the near sideline, 20 to the 15. Stiff arms the defender, gets inside the 5, and he's tackled at the 3-yard line. A touchdown saving tackle made by Lucas Bodie, the junior. And Evan Coons will set up the Sailors' first down and goal.
And with his profile, 5'11", 200, you wouldn't think he's a one-cut-and-go kind of guy, but he just takes his time getting through the line of scrimmage, and then once he sees an opening, he takes it, gashes the defense that time. And what a perfect spot to be in here as the first quarter gets closer to an end.
They're inside the red zone, brought to you by Steve Lawson of Russell Real Estate Services. Selling or buying soon? Visit superstevesells.com. They'll give this one to Kaiser. Kaiser plows his way up inside the 1-yard line, but he's short of the goal line. It's the second time they've called the number of Isaac Kaiser on this drive. And again, he gets just inside the 1.
Unfortunately for him, it was a 2-on-1 situation. Both linebackers, Meisner and Bodie, came in there. And sometimes just the numbers advantage, they get you.
Kaiser's the fullback here. Worth is the tailback. It'll be a quarterback keeper. They go straight up the middle. No signal just yet. Now we've got it. He's in for the touchdown. Trey Cooks on a 1-yard quarterback sneak. He's able to punch it in, and that'll make it 6-0 Sailors.
And that's just their identity right there, right? The end of that drive, just relying on that ground game and the offensive line to get them home. And now we'll see if they have some trickery in store for us here.
So they're going to line up here in an awkward formation, giving the appearance that maybe they might go for 2, but instead they'll line up for an extra point. Micah Smith handles the field goal kicking duties. Snap goes back. The hold from Hooks is down. The extra point has plenty of distance, and it is good. 7-0. Vermilion on top of Port Clinton with 3:33 to play in the first quarter. Live and free in our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. The Vermilion Sailors go 66 yards on 8 plays, and the drive finishes in a 1-yard touchdown rush from Drake Cooks. 7-0 Sailors out in front of Port Clinton on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week, live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. Andy Bolbarch and Max Drummond with you tonight. After this one, only 3 games remain in the regular season. It flies, as it typically does. Blessed with temperatures in the mid to low 70s for kickoff in this one. Micah Smith with a pop-up kick. This will be retrieved right around the 25-yard line and taken up to about the 29. That was Wyatt Yarbrough, a junior, 6'2", 195. Picked up about 4 yards on that return.
Yarbrough, he played a little bit of quarterback at the start of this year before they made a change to Landon Lease there. So interesting to see him out there on the kickoff unit, getting the ball in his hands again. But for this Vermilion defense, they really set the tone on that last drive, and I almost got to wonder if it's going to make Port Clinton think twice about trying to establish the run at all with the passing game they do have.
And again, without Malachi Pinkleton, you have to wonder if maybe they look at that running game with some degree of trepidation. They've had some success throwing the ball nearly 200 yards a game through the year. Lease will grab the snap, delayed handoff, fires right side, and the pass is caught. It's Gavin Cornell who works his way up to the 41-yard line after retrieving that pass, and they'll move the sticks right away on the first play of the drive.
And so right away we see them go right to it and get right back on the line here.
Stressing tempo as they did on their opening drive. Lease will fire right side. The pass is caught by Bodie. Bodie tackled along the far sideline at the Vermilion 41. There was a flag that came in a second or two before that play came to an end. And that is a hold that goes against Port Clinton. So that negates what would have been about a 16-yard gain. And the officials will get together and march out the yardage here, but that takes away what would have been their biggest play so far, Max.
Yeah, and it was already going to be around a 9-yard pickup before the holding because Brock Myers did a great job fighting off the block of the Port Clinton offensive player there. So doesn't hurt him too bad since it was that far downfield, I suppose.
Lease will hand it off to Meisner, and he's able to pick up a big chunk at about the 50-yard line. There was a big collision about 4 yards behind the play, but Meisner was able to pick up a pretty good chunk, setting up second and short. Lease back to pass, throws across the middle, incomplete. He threw it behind his intended target, Gavin Cornell.
And Lease is going to be thinking about that one for a while because right off of the breaking point of that route, I mean, Cornell had the inside seam there.
Meisner gets the call again. He's got first down yardage as he's dragged down at the Vermilion 46. Well, Meisner had played a little bit of a role in their running game through their first 6 games. Again, a bulk of it was handled by Pinkleton. Lease will send a man in motion. They'll hand it off to Meisner again. Tries the left side, carries a defender with him up to about the 41. That's another nice chunk on first down. He gets 5 yards.
Yeah, he's being a bit of a bruiser out there, not afraid to lower the shoulder when he needs to, and it provides a nice little change in style for this offense that's very pass-heavy.
Lease fires this one deep down the far sideline, incomplete. The receiver went down on the play, and there's some pleading from that Port Clinton sideline that a flag should have been thrown. But in the defense of the official, that pass fell incomplete. A good 20 yards past where the receiver fell down.
Yeah, you read my mind right there. If Lease has that a little closer to the 20-yard line where his receiver went down, it may have been more likely to be called.
Hand off to Meisner again, working the middle, and he's tackled at the 37. Tried to catch Vermilion by surprise there. They did pick up enough to keep the offense on the field and go for it here. They're back at the line very quickly. 4th down and a long one. Lease looking to that far sideline to get the instructions from his coaching staff. Trying to see if they might be able to get Vermilion to jump. Play clock's at 20. So they've got plenty of time to mess with here. They'll put Meisner on the left hip of Lease. Lease will grab the snap. It'll be a keeper. Takes it left side, lost the ball. It's on the turf, and it's recovered around the left hash, right around the 32-yard line for a first down.
Well, and in 6 games, he has run the ball 20 times, so he's not a complete stranger to it, but right there, it worked to their advantage. Nobody was looking his way for 4th down, but then he almost coughs it up.
Good-looking drive for Port Clinton. Lease, facing pressure, throws it across the middle, incomplete. Boy, he had a man open. He was looking for Gavin Cornell, but just a bit too much heat on that pass. That landed a few yards ahead of Cornell, and that's not the first time that's happened tonight.
Well, and he's had to deal with a little bit of pressure right there coming off the edge, so he's trying to lead the guys where he's expecting them to end up. It's just a couple seconds early.
They'll give it to Meisner again. Makes a nice cut back toward the middle of the field, and he's wrestled down at the 20-yard line. So they will give that chain gang a workout one more time.
And I swear there's times where they're going before the chains are even set.
Trying to keep this Vermilion defense on its heels. Lease tosses near side. He's looking in the corner of the end zone for Martez Wilson, but he overshot him. And that'll bring up second down.
And obviously on that one, the ball sails out of bounds, just out of the play altogether. But Micah Smith, just a sophomore in that corner spot for Vermilion, he's using the sideline to his advantage really well. They're boxing out the receiver, using the sideline as an extra defender.
Lease rolling out to his right, dumps it across the middle, incomplete. Well, he was trying to get that into the hands of Wyatt Sifke, and off the deflection, that almost ended up in the arms of Evan Coons.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We talk about him on offense all the time, but right there he closed off what was going to be an easy route to the flats.
Coming up on the 11th play of this drive for Port Clinton. Well, Port Clinton kind of pleading with the officials, thinking that maybe they got the Sailors to jump. It's 3rd down and 10. Play clock inside of 10 now. 3 receivers at the disposal of Landon Lease. Lease with time, looking for Cornell in the corner of the end zone. Cornell is able to make the catch, but he comes down out of bounds. A flag comes in, 2 flags as a matter of fact, on the back end of that play at the 25-yard line.
Couple things to break down there. Obviously, we'll see what the flags are, but you can't put that ball in a better spot. And if there's the replay there, that may have gotten a foot down. We'll see. It was going to come back anyway with the holding, but wow, what a throw.
So it's a hold going against Port Clinton.
Can't tell if that second foot dragged or not before he went out of bounds. Man.
So the holding call was declined because that brings up 4th down. At this spot on the field, the offense isn't going anywhere. They have the ball at the 20-yard line, and they'll get one more chance at it here. 4th down and 10 for the Redskins. On the cusp of the Steve Lawson of Russell Real Estate Services red zone. Lease facing pressure. Same route, going for Cornell again. Cornell can't come down with it in the back corner of the end zone. He was denied by Zach Worth. Great coverage on the play, and that will force Port Clinton to turn the ball over on downs.
And you can tell how much this Vermilion coaching staff trusts their guys, especially in the secondary. That's a safety making that play. That's not exactly your number one corner or anything. And like you said, Worth closing in on that at just the right time to force it loose.
29 ticks left on this first quarter clock. 7-0 Vermilion with the lead. They've got the ball back. This will be their 3rd offensive series of the night. This one begins at their own 20-yard line. They went 66 yards on 8 plays on their last possession. Punched it in from 1 yard out on a quarterback keeper from Drake Hooks. Hooks under center. They hand off to Coons. He tries the middle, and he's able to push the pile up to about the 24. And that may indeed be the last play of the quarter. Vermilion doesn't appear to be in any big hurry to get this play off, as we're now inside of 10 seconds. And they are going to leisurely walk toward that near sideline, meaning we are at the end of quarter number 1. Vermilion 7, Port Clinton 0 on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. It's live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. Just about to begin the second quarter at the end of one. Vermilion leading Port Clinton 7-0. Glad to have you with us tonight on the Lorain County Sports Network. Andy Bulbarch and Max Drummond on the call for you. The exterminator, Edwin Vereen, is our director. Sam Sovacool up top working the camera. Hooks rolling out to the right, fires. Pass is caught by Micah Smith. He's past the 40 of Port Clinton. He's shoved out of bounds on that far sideline after picking up a really big chunk of yards to move the sticks.
What an adjustment right there by Smith to come back to that ball, and that's a huge play. As I was going to say, coming out of that first quarter, they really played the game to their terms so far and dictated what they wanted to do on offense. And right there, may have come out with a surprise play, at least to Port Clinton, and they strike through the air.
They've got Coons lined up at a wing on the right side. Two receivers lined up near side left. They'll move Coons in motion. They'll hand it off to him. Tries to make a cut back toward the middle, and he's tackled right at the 41. No gain in the play.
As the pair of running backs there go at it, Beckett Meisner able to bring him down with a good form tackle there, setting the edge.
Liam Johnson came in to help clean that play up as well. I mentioned that both teams do have some pretty difficult tests ahead. Next week, Vermilion will take on Huron. We called that game here last year. Boy, what a thriller that was. Hooks grabs the shotgun snap. He'll run it himself. He gets twisted down at the 41-yard line. Just couldn't get around the edge there on the right side. And it's 3rd and long for the Sailors.
He tried to follow some blockers around the right side. He may have outran a couple as there was some penetration that slowed down some of the pulling linemen that time. And this isn't the first time we've seen them in a 3rd and long situation.
Completed a big pass in the first play of this second quarter to put them at the 41. That's where they are currently. But a couple of running plays that just didn't net any yardage. Let's put them in a 3rd and 10 scenario. Hooks facing pressure, rolling out, fires left side. Smith on the catch again. He's short of first down yardage, and then he gets torn down out of bounds at the end of the play. He was hit by Christian Miller. Smith tackled about 3 yards short of the sticks, and 4th down coming up.
Well, and they're very lucky that time that Christian Miller didn't get called for a penalty. I mean, that's a couple times we've seen the play kind of carry over into the sideline there, and that kind of completely changed the outcome of this drive.
Trey Cooks handles the punting duties for Vermilion. Miller will drop back. He's at his own 21-yard line to receive this. Hooks will get this away. A low kick. It's working its way toward the near sideline. Miller picks it up on a hop. Working the near sideline. He gets corralled at the 20.
Great job by everybody on Vermilion right there, maintaining their lanes down the field, and they used the sideline to close it off as Miller really had no cutback option to the rest of the field.
Aiden Saunders made the stop. And with 10:16 to play in the second quarter, the Redskins will have a long ways to go at their own 22-yard line. But then again, it's not like they had great field position the last time they had the ball. They started the drive with their own 29, and they made it not inside the red zone. They got close. They were on the cusp of the red zone last time they had the ball.
Yeah, and they were able to do that by getting down the field with a couple easy passes. We'll see if they go back to that rather than trying to strike down the field in one play.
They'll send a man in motion. They fire to that man in motion. It's caught out in the flat on the left side. It's taken past the 35-yard line, still on his feet, and finally knocked out of bounds is Wyatt Yarbrough. That's a name we called earlier when he returned to kickoff about 6 yards. Made a real nice catch in the flat and also worked his way out of a couple tackles on that.
Yeah, they're right there letting Landon Lease kind of be a point guard and not to have to throw it too far, set some guys up.
They do that again. They fire left side. It's caught by Cornell. Gavin Cornell gets him about 4 yards. They'll spot him down between the 47 and 48-yard line.
And so far, he's been held in check, which is a surprise to say to this point with his numbers coming in.
Meisner will get the carry. He gets out of a tackle. He's inside the 45, and he's dragged down at the 43. Well, it looked like he stepped out of a tackle from Evan Coons. And Meisner Well, move the chains again.
Yeah, and if they can get consistent runs like that right now, he's averaging 4 per carry. That could really change the scope on this game we had coming in.
Lease wants the snap. It'll be a keeper. He runs into a big purple wall of defenders. He is swallowed up right around the 43. He picked up maybe a yard on that, but certainly not much.
And so far, there's been a few times where he's been able to pull the ball and get a few extra yards just because I don't think they're expecting it. Right there, they didn't fall for it.
Lease facing some pressure. He's in trouble. He gets sacked at the 46-yard line. Max, that pocket collapsed very quickly.
Yeah, he did a good job. I don't know how he got out of the first tackle attempt that time from one of the Sailors, but it didn't matter because a few more guys were on the way. That's just great pursuit, and there may have even been a spy in effect right there.
3rd down and 12 for Port Clinton at the Vermilion 46. 4 receivers in this formation, 3 lined up near side to the right. They'll fake the give. Pressure coming up the middle. Pass goes left side, but it falls incomplete. He was looking for Elliott Laird. And Max, that looked like a timing route, and they just weren't on the same page.
No, not at all. And the pressure had a bit to do with that because there was a bit of a stunt up front there. Some of the guys in the middle, like Ellis and Cole Reaney, were able to exchange gaps there. And then, like you said, it just threw off the timing, looking for his receiver on a comeback route, which almost has to be perfect as is.
Offense stays on the field, but Lease is backing up. Looks like this could be a pooch punt situation. The snap goes over his head. It goes all the way back to the 30-yard line. He's going to air this one out down the field, and it's incomplete. It looked like he was trying to get that into the arms of Christian Miller, but that was just a desperation toss on a play that went sideways from the get-go. Max, they're fortunate that they got the end result that they did.
Yeah, just letting the play end would have been better. But I was wondering if he was going to have enough time to turn around and try to get some sort of pooch punt off before the pressure got there. And I don't know. That probably may have been better than trying to punt it in that situation when you're rushed and you got 2 or 3 guys getting ready to try to block it.
So they looked like they had some momentum on that drive that it stalled around the 45. 8:19 to play. Here in the second quarter, Vermilion takes over at their own 46-yard line. Coons will get the carry. Coons is stood up at the line of scrimmage, just didn't have anywhere to go. So far, Max, really good pursuit by this front 4. It's an even front for Port Clinton. They run a variation of 4-3, sometimes a call to 4-2-5. Just a lot of hats in the ball.
Yeah, and outside of the 144-yard run, there hasn't been much to speak of success-wise for Coons. And right there, Axel Blumensod, he did a good job standing up the lineman at the point of attack, and that play had no chance after that.
2nd and 10 coming up for the Sailors. Coons, the only tailback of the formation. He's off the left side of Drake Hooks. They'll send Micah Smith in motion. Back to pass. Hooks has time. Throws it down the middle, incomplete. Zach Worth stumbled and fell down at the 35 of Port Clinton, but I'm not sure that would have mattered because that ball would have sailed way over his head even if he didn't fall.
Yeah, and it almost appeared like that throw worked as a throwaway just since he stayed in the pocket, sending it past everybody, and he had a man in the area, so obviously no penalty would have been called. There may have been a chance where he could have checked it down to Aiden Saunders, but even then it was pretty crowded in the 2nd and 3rd level of the defense that play.
3rd and 10 coming up. This Vermilion offense, we talk about that ground game. They average 8.5 yards per carry. So they can pick them up in big chunks. Hooks setting up a pass, rolls away from that first defender, then it gets popped inside the 40 at the 38-yard line. And that was Wyatt Sifke, senior defensive end, that applied the pressure and took him down. And that's going to force the Sailors to punt it away.
And a few of the routes were a little longer developing, so he tries to buy himself some time. And unfortunately, that's right when Sifke was getting a hold of him and the pocket collapsed. So pretty good job by the pass rushes of both teams here in the last few minutes of this ball game.
Hooks will get this punt away. A low kick that bounces at about the 35. Takes a real nice bounce going inside the 20-yard line. Miller picks it up at the last moment, then takes it out of bounds. Now there's a flag on the play at the 16-yard line, and that was thrown as that ball was coming down.
Yeah, and I mean, normally the back judge there is only going to throw that if something happens around the returner who hadn't even had a chance to find where the ball was yet. So interested to see what this call is going to be.
Our head referee, Eric Metzger, is pointing in the direction of Port Clinton.
So I wonder if they maybe could have counted too many guys on that side when the ball was snapped.
That's the indication, yes. So again, it won't cost them much. It's an illegal substitution, too many men on the field, as you mentioned, Max. Now, they didn't have great field position to begin with because of that punt. And this will make matters worse, but look, in their defense, they've moved the ball at least a little bit in their first few drives.
Yeah, and I think, Drake Hooks, funny enough, he's scored the only touchdown in this game so far, but his real impact may be coming in the special teams department because he's setting them back a bit where if these drives were starting at the 30 or the 40-yard line, there may be more traction and a couple more plays strung together.
This is as deep as the Redskins have started inside their own territory. They're at their own 14-yard line. Bodie and Sifke both moving in motion to the left side. And they'll hand it off to that left side, but just not a lot of room. They'll mark him down right around the 15-yard line.
And you can almost tell it just doesn't come as naturally to them as their passing game does. There's just not as much movement up front, and a lot of these plays are getting strung outside.
Landon Lee, 6'1", 205-pound sophomore. This offense has relied a pretty good bit on his right arm. He fires to the left side, incomplete. They weren't expecting the pass. There were two guys in the area, Christian Miller and Gavin Cornell, but neither guy was expecting that pass.
Both looked like they were setting up blocks for the other one. And, honestly, with the cushion that was given right there, it may have gone for a minimum of a first down without even having to touch somebody for Vermilion.
Beckett Meisner is the tailback. Lease clapping his hands together, looking to the far sideline. For a moment there, looked like Vermilion was showing blitz. Maybe adding some extra pressure here on third down and long. Lease fakes the give, fires left side, incomplete. Timing her out again there, Max. It kind of looked like he was expecting Christian Miller to kind of turn back and look for that. But he let that pass loose very quickly.
Yeah, several times now we've seen on these crucial third down situations, quarterback, receiver not on the same page, and it looked like Miller was about 6 yards past the first down marker. Got to imagine Leach was expecting him to just set up and show him the hands right around the 24 there where the first down was.
Gavin Cornell standing on his own goal line. Micah Smith back around the 45. He'll get this kick away, a short one. A wobbler that bounces at the 37-yard line, takes a nice Vermilion bounce as it trickles inside the 35 to the 33. So outstanding field position for the Sailors.
You got to imagine they're going to do everything they can here to take advantage because you may not get a better starting spot for the rest of this evening, maybe not for the next couple weeks.
All at the 33 of Port Clinton. One thing that was missing from that series, too, from Port Clinton, they were stressing tempo early on in this game. They didn't do any of that on that last series.
Yeah, they just seemed out of sorts there from the start of that drive and just working in their own end of the field and running a lot to the short side, so there wasn't as much open grass.
Worth goes in motion. They give to Coons. Coons goes right through the middle of that defense, and he's tackled at the 23-yard line. He'll be very close to a first down. And it looks like they'll spot him down at the 24. That's a 9-yard gain.
And got to believe they're going to try to establish him more here. He's only had 5 carries and 6 total attempts on the night, just getting the ball in his hands. So got to believe they're going to force it right here, and you'll live with the result with a guy that talented.
Hard to argue with those results. He's been one of the best players in the county. There's no question about that. Bobbled snap. Pass goes right side. Caught in the flat by Micah Smith. He's got first down yardage. He gets popped at the end of the play near the 22, but that's more than enough for a first down.
It almost appeared like there may have been a bobble at the snap at the start of that play. Maybe worried it throws off the timing of that and him getting upfield, but good job by Smith just cutting in and getting the necessary yardage.
Vermilion on the move again, leading 7-0. A 1-yard touchdown rush from the quarterback, Drake Cooks. And we have a timeout on the field. Timeouts throughout the night are brought to you by Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran, securing and organizing real estate documents. That's Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran. And we have an injured player down on the field right now for Port Clinton. That was a pretty big collision there, Max, at the end of that play. We've seen a lot of pretty big collisions tonight.
Yeah, I think both guys felt it on that one. And unfortunately for Port Clinton, they're not able to get up just yet. But, it's been a pretty physical game. And with some of the high-scoring results that we mentioned from Port Clinton heading into this one, we weren't sure if that was the style we'd see from them, if they'd be able to match Vermilion. But so far, they've been doing their best to.
The injured player is Aiden Meister, a junior 5'11", 150-pounder, walking off the field under his own power. This is a relatively young group for Port Clinton. And Coach Luthold had mentioned before the game that, they're not exactly healthy coming into this one. I don't think anybody's 100% in week 7. And sometimes you play track meets like they have. That can wear on you a little bit. They're fun games to play in, no doubt.
Yeah, certainly.
But they can take a lot out of you. 1st and 10 for Vermilion. Hooks will give to Coons again. Big hole up the middle initially, then it closed quickly. He gets inside the 20, and they'll tackle him near the 17-yard line.
Yeah, one of those guys that are kind of leading the charge with the physicality is one of their few seniors, Wyatt Sifke, as he stopped that one from getting any further. It almost looked like Saunders blocked him right into the lane there as Coons collided, but definitely another physical meeting in the hole there.
One of the things statistically that stands out, where their tackling is really balanced all across the board. This time they give it to Coons again. He's tripped up and he goes down near the 14-yard line. They'll be a little bit short. It'll be 3rd down and about 3. Timeout is called by Port Clinton. We'll take this timeout as well. 7-0 Vermilion, 4:20 to play, 2nd quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Coming out of that Port Clinton timeout, 7-0 Vermilion, 4:20 to play here in the 2nd quarter. 3rd down and 2 for the Sailors at the Redskins' 14-yard line. Hooks will take the high snap. They give to Aiden Kaiser, that's Isaac Kaiser. He's got close to 1st down yardage. It all depends on that spot. The official on the far side indicates the chain gang needs to march forward 10 yards, and that's exactly what they'll do.
Man, it took the extra effort on that one. I believe it was, Beckett Meisner once again finding himself near the football as he initially had him stopped ahead of the line to gain, I think, but great effort there by Kaiser.
1st and 10 at the 12. Hooks on that double handoff, and Wyatt Sifke hanging on for dear life before he can get some help, and the rest of the cavalry gets there to slow down Evan Coons.
And he read that perfectly. I mean, sometimes they fake that handoff, so he was lucky that they didn't do that. But with a guy like Coons, and in this situation, you got to try to track him down and just put all your eggs in that basket. It ended up paying off that time.
I'll call that a gain of 1 with the nose of the ball resting at the 11-yard line. The double handoff is something they did a couple of weeks ago against Elyria Catholic, and they hit on that a couple of times, but just didn't hit on that enough. That's the first time we've seen that tonight.
It just relies on a lot of discipline, especially guys playing on the backside of the ball.
Hooks rolling out right, throws right side. The pass is caught and taken into the end zone. Touchdown Vermilion. Joe Schaub on the receiving end of an 11-yard touchdown pass from Drake Hooks. And that'll make it 13-0 Vermilion with 3:03 to play in the 2nd.
And you're going to find him in the slot there. The closest Port Clinton player was Elliott Laird maybe, as he tried to keep up, but as soon as he got some separation there off the line, there was no catching him.
Second touchdown of the game for Hooks. He's got one through the air, one on the ground. Micah Smith on for the extra point. He's got plenty of distance, and he was able to sneak it in. It's good. 14-0. Vermilion leading Port Clinton with 3:03 left in the second quarter. It's live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. Moments ago, Vermilion capitalized on terrific field position. A drive where they had to go just 33 yards. They did just that, and they got into the end zone on an 11-yard touchdown pass from Drake Cooks to Joe Schaub. As a result, they lead 14-0 over Port Clinton with just over 3 minutes to go. Coming up at the half, we have our Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. We'll get you a scoring recap, stats, and a look at the area scoreboard as well. Kickoff is bobbled inside the 5-yard line, picked up by Martez Wilson. Wilson able to get past the 10, and he's tackled right around his ankles at the 15. So there will be a long ways to go here for Port Clinton with inside of 3 minutes on this second quarter clock, 2:55 to be exact. And once again, Max, they're starting deep inside their own territory.
Well, and it's all thanks to a guy that we got to see on the homecoming court earlier, Landon Mooney, the freshman, as he stepped up big that time, trying to fill some pretty big shoes with his own right.
James Bangle was the homecoming king. They announced the court on the pregame festivities. That was a lot of fun for us to watch here. Well, 'tis the season when it comes to homecoming, right? We've got whistles and a timeout called by Vermilion. Want to remind you that the opening snap of each half is brought to you by our friends at Janasco Insurance. They provide the protection that you need and the service you deserve. That's Janasco Insurance. We welcome you back into our Green Path CPA Solutions broadcast booth. Not your typical accounting firm. Visit greenpathcpa.com. Andy Bolbarch and Max Drummond on the call. Sam Sovacle working the camera tonight. El Capitan, the exterminator extraordinaire. Edwin Vereen, he's our director. 14-0 lead for Vermilion. And where Port Clinton is on the field, it really kind of feels like we're getting very close to that boiling point in this contest, Max.
Normally in a spot like this, a 2-minute drill, you'd feel pretty confident with them, but the way that they've struggled to not only move the ball, but just some finer things in their passing game, you know, just timing or seeing who's blocking and who's on the receiving end of some of these screens, just none of that is in sync right now. And it's really hurt this offense. The running game has surprisingly been more effective.
Lease out of the shotgun. He'll hand this one off to Meisner again. Meisner has stood up at the line of scrimmage. Doesn't have anywhere to go. He may have actually lost a yard on that. They'll put him down at the 14-yard line. That is a loss of 1.
Well, and as I say, it's been more productive right there. The Sailors step up. And that's even with their defense being spread out right now from sideline to sideline.
Lease has 3 receivers to work with. He'll fire left side, and it's intercepted off the deflection. It's picked off, and that's Aiden Keisner, who comes away with the interception. Aiden Kaiser with his second interception of the season. He caught that off the deflection. They were trying to get that into the hands of Gavin Cornell. Well, Cornell got his paws on that one, couldn't haul it in, and Aiden Kaiser has interception number 2 for that Vermilion defense. That's their 8th pick of the season.
And right there, it looked like Cornell thought he was going to have plenty of inside leverage. The pass just off his hands. Otherwise, it probably would have been a nice first down.
2:23 left in the second. Man in motion, it's Kuntz. Hooks will take the snap. They hand this one off right up the middle, and this time it'll be the other Kaiser. That's Isaac Kaiser, who they have, I don't want to say leaned on, but they've certainly relied on kind of heavily in this running game throughout the season. They've definitely called his number a lot tonight.
And in a game where maybe you can afford to do that, take some of the pressure off of Evan Coons, and that will definitely pay dividends down the line.
Kaiser entered tonight's game just shy of 200 yards on the ground, averaging 5.7 yards a carry and 2 trips to the end zone. They'll bring a man in motion at Smith. They hand off to Kaiser again. Kaiser is able to get inside the 15. He's going to be close to a first down. Looks like he's got it. He does.
And just like the last time they had the ball, even though they started at the 33, they really weren't in any rush, and it ended up paying off, taking 3 minutes off the board and cutting the time left in the half in half. And now they have a chance to basically leave nothing left for Port Clinton.
They'll work out of the I formation here. Handoff will go to Coons. Coons still on his feet inside the 10-yard line, and he's tackled near the 7.
As we hit the 60-second mark just about here in the half.
A flag just came flying in. That was thrown a good 10 seconds after the play completed. It was also thrown from the 25-yard line, and that's a good 15-plus yards away from where that play finished.
Yeah, if you're Vermilion here, you can't, if depending on who this is on, you can't have that. Obviously, Port Clinton, it may not hurt them as bad if it's a half the distance kind of call, but with the way your offense likes to work and operate with only a minute left.
It's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and this is going to march the Sailors back. Again, where that was thrown and how far after the play it was thrown, you had to believe it was unsportsmanlike or a personal foul of some sort. Somebody might have said something on that Vermilion sideline.
Could be, and I mean, you go from the 8-yard line now back to the 23, and with under a minute like this, it really puts you in a very uncomfortable spot for your offense.
55 seconds remain in the second quarter, and the clock will begin to wind once again as soon as the Sailors break the huddle. Hooks grabs the shotgun snap, throws this one down the middle of the field. Leaping attempt made by Aiden Saunders, but he couldn't come down with it. The tight end almost made that catch in traffic at the 5-yard line, but the incompletion brings up third and a country mile.
Well, and he hit another gear there trying to catch up to that one, but the ball, it had to be out in front like that as Brody Bollinger was lurking underneath in coverage, and if you ease up on that ball at all, it may have been picked off.
It is officially 3rd and 21 at the 23. Long ways to go here. And again, 40 ticks left in the second. Drake Hooks dropping back, looking near side left. Now he's in trouble, and he gets sacked at the 34-yard line. Caleb Spencer, the senior, 6'1", 190, with his 4th sack of the season.
And what bought Spencer the time there to be able to corral him, it looked like they sent Brock Myers on a double move that was opening up, but as soon as Hooks may have seen that, he had the defender right in his face in Spencer.
Well, they don't have to run another play here, and I don't believe that they will because there's more time on the play clock than there is on the game clock. And now we do have whistles. Timeout called by Vermilion with 4 seconds left, 4.8 to be exact. I don't imagine they'll try and line up for a field goal this long in high school. It just doesn't happen. Maybe you just take a heave at the end zone and see what happens.
Yeah, and in this, I mean, clearly we saw a couple plays ago that Hooks, he can likely get it to there right outside the end zone from this point, and got a couple taller guys like Aiden Saunders, Brock Myers you could try to throw it up to.
Yeah, to your point. Myers, 6'3", 195. Saunders, 6'1", 200.
I do want to give a little bit of a preview for a few years from now. Maybe they will have a kicker at the junior LCA level on Saturdays. Vermilion, they line up and kick extra points. They're the only team that does it. So this kid could be on path to eventually one day in high school maybe be lining up from this length. We'll see.
Wow.
We're still a few years away from seeing if he keeps at it. But
look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Vermilion wants to take one last crack at it now. We've got whistles. And we have an illegal substitution penalty coming against Port Clinton. The official on the back end of that counted out the numbers, and he counted out a dozen. Now he's picked up the flag, and he's stuffed it back in his pants.
Well, and nobody's moving to leave the field for the defense right now. Okay, here we go. Now somebody's heading out. You don't want that penalty 2 times in a row.
Hooks will drop back. Rolling out to his right, surveying the field, fires to the end zone, looking for Myers. He leaps up, and he makes the catch on the side of the end zone, but he's out of bounds. For a moment, looked like they had completed that pass from 33 yards out. But that will officially take us to the end of the first half. Boy, oh, so close, and that's the second time, Max, that exact same spot on the field. We had 2 near touchdown grabs, but they missed by just inches. Maybe a little bit less.
I mean, I got to imagine that corner. We'll see something eventually hit over there. I mean, great job by Christian Miller to shove him out of bounds, but, man, Myers almost made a thrilling play to end the half.
Well, and that's a really big one, too, because now you're looking at a deficit that's manageable at 14-0. You give up a last-second score there, and all of a sudden you're down 20 or 21-0. That's a different mountain to climb entirely. It's still going to be tough for Port Clinton, but now by thwarting that and somehow avoiding it by just inches, maybe you develop a little bit of momentum as a result, because 14-0, you still feel like you have a fighting chance.
Yeah, and there's a little bit more positivity perhaps ending that locker room, but definitely some adjustments coming.
All right, well, we are going to step aside and take a timeout. When we come back, we will launch right into our Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. We will rate the dog. We'll tell you how the scoring went down in the first half of this one. We've got first half stats, and we will also tell you what's going on at other high school football stadiums in and across the area as well. Your score here in Vermilion, Sailors 14, Port Clinton nothing, live and free on YouTube tonight on the Lorain County Sports Network.
Lorain County Sports Network presents the top high school football plays of the year from weeks 1 through 5. Don't miss the action. It's completely free. Subscribe today and follow our YouTube channel. Drop your vote in the comments. What is the best play so far? Lorain County Sports Network, your home for high school football.
This is Tarek. He is a junior. And back deep to receive is Wyatt McKee, number 1. You're going to hear a lot of his name, and here we go, breaking a tackle, and he's got one man to beat as he crosses the 50-yard line. The kicker, goodbye, 30, 20, 10, 5. Let's go, Lorain County Sports Network.
Makes that defense for North Olmsted have to manage a lot, and he's just going to use the speed. Outside, touchdown, Zach Barnhart, as that's our first score of the season, at least on our side of the Lorain County Sports Network. And the Rangers go right down the field on their opening drive and finish it off with a touchdown.
3rd down and 5 at the Highland 11-yard line. Dawson Tenbrink grabs the snap. They'll go up the middle again. Jones breaks a big tackle inside the 5, marches into the end zone. Touchdown, Shorman. He was hit at the 12-yard line, said, going to take a lot more than that to bring me down. He marches 11 yards into the end zone, and Avon Lake is an extra point away from tying this up.
For it. It's 4th and 20 from their own 28-yard line, or excuse me, from Westlake's 28-yard line. Williams drops back. He's got time. He's got a receiver. It's Newton!
Beautiful.
Oh, my God, he just got mossed.
Yeah.
Brennan Newton goes up from 28 yards out and hauls it in.
Sir Brendan.
Long here. Walter has 4 receivers at his disposal. Grabs the snap and he drops back. We have a flag looking down the field. Walter throws this one and it's intercepted. Picked off at about the 15-yard line. It's Pruitt and he takes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Firelands. It's a 15-yard pick 6, and that'll make it 12-0 Firelands with 3:16.
Whitaker drops back. He's got Serrano across the middle, makes a man miss. Now he's got the room to run as the Tights Tigers are trying to catch him, and they're not. Touchdown, Serrano. No penalty flags on the play. He's got Clapham in motion. He's going to drop back and looks to throw. Oh my God.
The DB went for the pick.
What a catch as that is Finn Jadonic, number 22.
Oh my.
What a catch that was.
Guidetti rolling out far side to the left on third down and long. He'll chuck this deep down the field. The pass is intercepted. It's picked off by Dominic Bell. He takes it up past the 15-yard line to the 20. Takes it down the near side. He's got some room to run. Gets to the 50. Off to the races inside the 40 of Northwestern. Cuts back inside 20. 15, 10, 5. Into the end zone. Touchdown Black River. A 90-yard pick six from Dominic Bell. Off the left side of Essenmacher. And Essenmacher will give it to him again. Castillo works his way right side, spins his way into the end zone. Touchdown Panthers. A 5-yard touchdown rush for Zion Castillo. And that'll make it 16-0 EC with 9:23 to play.
Back to start things off from their own 35-yard line. Handoff up the middle again.
Here we go.
Marcus McMahon, and I don't know if anyone's going to get him.
Here we
as
go.
He is going all the way. They push him into the end zone. Oh, did they push him out? One referee saying, hold on. Wait a minute. Do we have a signal? Looks like we're going to have a touchdown. After we look, it looked like the one ref was coming to spot it, saying that he was out of bounds. No, we do. So he
left side to Freeman. Freeman makes one man miss, gets to the sideline. He's to the 10, to the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Phoenix. A 19-yard touchdown dash for Corey Freeman, and Oberlin's on the board.
Those are your starting lineups on defense for Columbia. Oh, that one is picked off, and that's going to be Wesley Sanders, the quarterback, Jared, going all the way to the house from 20 yards out about.
Lorain County Sports Network presents the top high school football plays of the year from weeks 1 through 5. Don't miss the action. It's completely free. Subscribe today and follow our YouTube channel. Drop your vote in the comments. What is the best play so far? Lorain County Sports Network, your home for high school football.
This is Tarek. He is a junior. And back deep to receive is Wyatt McKee, number 1. You're going to hear a lot of his name, and here we go. Breaking a tackle, and he's got one man to beat as he crosses the 50-yard line. The kicker, goodbye. 30, 20, 10, 5. Let's go, Lorain County Sports Network.
Makes that defense for North Olmsted have to manage a lot, and he's just going to use the speed. Outside, touchdown, Zach Barnhart, as that's our first score of the season, at least on our side of the Lorain County Sports Network. And the Rangers go right down the field on their opening drive and finish it off with a touchdown.
3rd down and 5 at the Highland 11-yard line. Dawson Tenbrink grabs the snap. They'll go up the middle again. Jones breaks a big tackle inside the 5, marches into the end zone. Touchdown, Shorman. He was hit at the 12-yard line, said, gonna take a lot more than that to bring me down. He marches 11 yards into the end zone, and Avon Lake is an extra point away from tying this up.
For it. It's 4th and 20 from their own 28-yard line, or excuse me, from Westlake's 28-yard line. Williams drops back. He's got time. He's got a receiver. It's Newton!
Beautiful.
Oh, my God, he just got mossed.
Yeah.
Brennan Newton goes up from 28 yards out and hauls it in.
Sir Brendan.
Long here. Walter has 4 receivers at his disposal. Grabs the snap and he drops back. We have a flag looking down the field. Walter throws this one and it's intercepted. Picked off at about the 15-yard line. It's Pruitt and he takes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Firelands. It's a 15-yard pick 6, and that'll make it 12-0 Firelands with 3:16.
Whitaker drops back. He's got Serrano across the middle, makes a man miss. Now he's got the room to run as the Tights Tigers are trying to catch him, and they're not. Touchdown, Serrano. No penalty flags on the play. He's got Clapham in motion. He's going to drop back and looks to throw.
Oh my
God.
The DB went for the
What
pick.
a catch as that is Finn Jadonic, number 22.
Oh my.
What a catch that was.
Guidetti rolling out far side to the left on third down and long. He'll chuck this deep down the field. The pass is intercepted. It's picked off by Dominic Bell. He takes it up past the 15-yard line to the 20. Takes it down the near side. He's got some room to run. Gets to the 50. Off to the races inside the 40 of Northwestern. Cuts back inside 20. 15, 10, 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Black River. A 90-yard pick six from Dominic Bell. Off the left side of Essenmacher. And Essenmacher will give it to him again. Castillo works his way right side, spins his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Panthers. A 5-yard touchdown rush for Zion Castillo. And that'll make it 16-0 EC with 9:23 to play.
Back to start things off from their own 35-yard line. Handoff
here we go.
up the middle again.
Here we go.
Marcus McMahon, and I don't know if anyone's going to get him.
Here we
as
go.
he is going all the way. They push him into the end zone. Oh, did they push him out? One referee saying, hold on. Wait a minute. Do we have a signal? Looks like we're going to have a touchdown. After we look, it looked like the one ref was coming to spot it, saying that he was out of bounds. No, we do. So he
left side of Freeman. Freeman makes one man miss, gets to the sideline. He's to the 10, to the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Phoenix. A 19-yard touchdown dash for Corey Freeman, and Oberlin's on the board.
Those are your starting lineups on defense for Columbia. Oh, that one is picked off, and that's going to be Wesley Sanders, the quarterback, Jared, going all the way to the house from 20 yards out about.
Lorain County Sports Network presents the top high school football plays of the year from weeks 1 through 5. Don't miss the action. It's completely free. Subscribe today and follow our YouTube channel. Drop your vote in the comments. What is the best play so far? Lorain County Sports Network, your home for high school football.
This is Tarek. He is a junior. And back deep to receive is Wyatt McKee, number 1. You're going to hear a lot of his name, and here we go. Breaking a tackle, and he's got one man to beat as he crosses the 50-yard line. The kicker, goodbye. 30, 20, 10, 5. Let's go, Lorain County Sports Network.
Makes that defense for North Olmsted have to manage a lot, and he's just going to use the speed. Outside, touchdown, Zach Barnhart, as that's our first score of the season, at least on our side of the Lorain County Sports Network. And the Rangers go right down the field on their opening drive and finish it off with a touchdown.
Third down and 5 at the Highland 11-yard line. Dawson Tenbrink grabs the snap. They'll go up the middle again. Jones breaks a big tackle inside the 5, marches into the end zone. Touchdown, Shorman. He was hit at the 12-yard line, said, going to take a lot more than that to bring me down. He marches 11 yards into the end zone, and Avon Lake is an extra point away from tying this up.
For it. It's 4th and 20 from their own 28-yard line, or excuse me, from Westlake's 28-yard line. Williams drops back. He's got time. He's got a receiver. It's Newton!
Beautiful.
Oh, my God, he just got mossed.
Yeah.
Brennan Newton goes up from 28 yards out and hauls it in.
Sir Brendan.
Long here. Walter has 4 receivers at his disposal. Grabs the snap and he drops back. We have a flag looking down the field. Walter throws this one and it's intercepted. Picked off at about the 15-yard line. It's Pruitt and he takes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Firelands. It's a 15-yard pick 6. And that'll make it 12-0 Firelands with 3:16.
Whitaker drops back. He's got Serrano across the middle, makes a man miss. Now he's got the room to run as the Tights Tigers are trying to catch him, and they're not. Touchdown, Serrano. No penalty flags on the play. He's got Clapham in motion. He's going to drop back and looks to throw.
Oh, my
God.
The DB went for the pick.
What a catch as that is Finn Jadonic, number 22.
Oh, my.
What a catch that was.
Guidetti rolling out far side to the left on third down and long. He'll chuck this deep down the field. The pass is intercepted. It's picked up. Welcome into the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. It's brought to you by Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance. If you have insurance questions, call Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. Andy Bolbarch and Max Drummond on the call for you. Sam Sovacool working the camera tonight, and the director is Edwin Vereen. Keeping us safe, making sure we don't get stung throughout the night. He sent a message to one particular wasp, and I think the message was sent to the rest of the hive because we haven't heard a buzz since the pregame show. Having all kinds of fun up here in Sailor Nation in Vermilion, where Vermilion is on top 14-0 over Port Clinton at the half. And Max, before we get to the scoring recap, the stats, and much more, this first half, for the most part, controlled by Vermilion. Port Clinton has been able to move the ball a little bit, but anytime it looks like they get close, a couple of things happen that set them back a few steps.
Yeah, and they're trying to establish a bit of a ground game with a new running back and also getting Lease more involved, which may be taking them out of their comfort zone. But interestingly enough, the passing game is what's kind of slowed them down, or they've had some setbacks with tonight, as I think Vermilion's defense is just doing a really good job confusing them and also just forcing a lot of quicker hitting plays than maybe they would like, as a lot of these routes we've seen have been trying to go down the field, and there hasn't been as much success there.
Certainly hasn't. Let's take a look at how the scoring went down in the first half. The two teams exchanged punts, and then Vermilion needed 8 plays to go 66 yards down the field. A 1-yard touchdown rush from the quarterback, Drake Hooks. That was set up by a 41-yard rush from Evan Coons, his biggest rush of the night. He's done all right in the first half, but he hasn't put up otherworldly type numbers just yet. Then again, he set a bar so incredibly high for the first 6 weeks of the season. We'll get into those stats here in just a few moments. A little bit later on, Vermilion went to the air and took advantage of terrific field position. They took over at the 33 of Port Clinton, and 7 plays later, an 11-yard touchdown pass from Drake Hooks to Joe Schaub made it 14-0 with just over 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. 14-0 is our count in this one, and I'll hand the baton off to Max as he takes a look at our halftime stats.
And it's interesting you talk about how maybe Evan Coons isn't having the same performance as we may be used to. He's still found a way to very sneakily get 10 carries for 77 yards in that first half. He obviously had the big 44-yard run in the first quarter, but even since that point, he's been able to kind of hold things steady. And I think the passing game through the air surprised me a little bit, as Drake Hooks, the quarterback, 6 of 9 for 46 yards and a touchdown. And I would argue that's a lot more efficiency and productivity than we've seen from the Port Clinton offense. 5 of 15 for 41 yards and a pick on that side, as they're only averaging 2.5 yards per carry. So what started out with the backup Beckett Meisner at running back having a nice start to the game has now just kind of been figured out. And with the score how it is and less productivity on the ground, we're probably going to see a lot more through the air.
Stats tonight brought to you by Al Januzzi CPA. It's all about the numbers. That's Al Januzzi CPA. Time for us to rate the dog. Brought to you by Brian Victor of Howard Hanna. Brian says enjoy the game, and we'll enjoy the dog at the same time. Couple of things we need to mention here. The dogs were fantastic. I thought they were very good, but boy, the folks here at Vermilion went one step above and beyond. Not only did they allow a world-class track athlete, one of Westlake's finest, and Sam Sovacool to go down and get the dogs, they let him go into the concession stand and take a peek behind the curtain and let him see the operation firsthand, man. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, you got to jump the line a bit, and they were still hot when they got back. So I don't know how he does it.
I don't know how he does it, but Sam always finds a way. You made the comment when he came up here with the Dogs. You said, look, I'd still be climbing down that ladder from the top of the press box. I'm right there with you, man. I might still be up there. And here we are 15 minutes later. I'll tell you what, I think I would give this a solid 4.3. I thought it was fantastic. A very good dog. I thought the dog-to-bun ratio was absolutely 100% spot on. That's so hard to get right, but I think they nailed it for sure.
Yeah, and very well cooked. I'm coming in right at a 4. I was at 3.9, but the fact that you went in the 4s, I was like, I think I have to as well because it was very well done altogether, and the delivery process outstanding as it is every week.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff. Big thanks to Sam Sovacool for taking care of that. Big thanks to Brian Victor of Howard Hanna for sponsoring our Rate the Dog segment here on the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. Let's take a look at what's going on at other high school football stadiums in and across the area. Black River leading Firelands 19-14. They just put up a touchdown a few moments ago. They've got that 5-point edge on Firelands. Also in the LC8, Clearview having some fun at the expense of the Brookside Cardinals. Clearview leads 21-0. Keystone all over Wellington, 22-0. No score update available to us from Columbia and Oberlin. In the SWC, Avon doing what a lot of people expected them to do. They are taking care of business at home against Midview, leading 31-0. That's a Midview Middies team we will see next week when they take on the Elyria Pioneers. Speaking of Elyria, well, they're hanging tough right now, trailing 21-13 to Amherst. So they're hanging around, and Elyria is one of those programs just trying to get over that hump and get a win and get them some confidence. Avon Lake leading 14-10 against Olmsted Falls. That's a battle between two really good teams in a very tight region. Division II, Region 6, so tough. So many regions across the state. People were pretty pleased about going from 16 down to 12 teams in the playoffs. Boy, that's going to be a really tough picture and puzzle to figure out. That region has a lot of really good teams. Berea Mid-Park up 21-6 on North Ridgeville. Elyria Catholic having a tough time figuring things out against Lake Catholic, 19-0 to score there. Lake Catholic on top of EC. No update available to us from Lorain and Shaker, and of course right here, Vermilion leads Port Clinton 14-0. So those are the scores from across the area. We'll take one last time out and come back here in just a moment to put the finishing touches on the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. 14-0. Vermilion leads Port Clinton halfway through this one. Live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. Just a few moments away from kicking off the second half of action. Vermilion will kick here to begin the second half. And Port Clinton, who won the toss, elected to defer. They'll receive here to begin the third quarter. So happy to have you with us tonight on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. Your local, reliable, trusted lender is Legacy Home Finance. Lorain County's 4 horsemen up here in Vermilion. A little warm here in the booth. You step outside, it's about a 10-degree difference. It really got chilly out there, Max.
Yeah, normally I'm pretty happy to be away from the elements, but tonight I almost wish I was getting some of that breeze, but we'll make do.
Don't forget, you can check out my tag team partner for the LC8 action on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. One more week of the regular season. He was telling me a few moments ago the playoffs begin next week. We'll let you pump up your location here in just a moment as Micah Smith gets his right foot into this kick, and this will go out of bounds on the near sideline. So where will you guys be tomorrow?
Well, we're going to be heading pretty far south from here, as we'll be at Wellington, as the high school is kind enough to open up their press box and field, and we'll see Columbia taking on Brookside and Wellington versus Oberlin. We did have a chance the past couple weeks here to see Vermilion 3 weeks in a row, including coming out here for a game. So big thank you to the Saylor Athletic Department for making all of that possible.
Andy Stillman and company do such a wonderful job. We love coming out here to Vermilion. Get to see Cliff German and company up here in the press box. It's such a pleasure. They always welcome us here with open arms, and we thoroughly enjoy our time here in Saylor Nation. Ball spotted at the 35-yard line. That's where Port Clinton will take over here in the third quarter, trying to establish a little momentum offensively. Landon Lease moves a man in motion. He'll take the snap. They give it to Meisner. He tries the left side, and he'll pick up maybe a yard, getting to the 36. It's a long ways to go to pick up just 1 yard.
Yeah, and that's something that this Vermilion defense, I mean, it was a similar thing last year when we saw them, and similar again this year. They don't have the most size up there, but they string these plays out, and then once you go east-west on them, you're not going to get very far.
Pressure coming. Pass goes left side, incomplete. Oh, Leash, you could tell, certainly felt that pressure as he was trying to complete that to the far side to Martez Wilson, but that pass had too much steam on it. It was released way too soon.
Yeah, and it's been quite some time since he completed a pass. His last 6 pass attempts either falling incomplete or going to the Sailors.
When Vermilion is showing blitz, they bring Sean Brownell up to the line of scrimmage, and Brownell is a guy who can certainly get after it. Play action fake. Pass goes left side. This time it's caught by Wilson on the far sideline. He steps out of bounds near the 47, and that'll move the sticks.
Well, and it felt like it was only a matter of time before they hooked up on that kind of route, because when you run it enough times, eventually it's going to find a way to hit home, and they move the chains with it right there.
Trying to stress tempo again. They fire left side again. It's Wilson on the reception at the Vermilion 49.
And that's a guy we didn't really see get any targets in the first half, so perhaps they're finding a new target to go to.
Wilson was a name that Coach Luthold pointed out on our Buckeye Community Bank Coach's Corner. They'll hand off to Meisner. He's got room to run, tackled at the 45, setting up third down and short.
Right there, Daniel Roy, good job scraping down the line of scrimmage and then eventually meeting up with Meisner to force this third down and short.
Roy's a guy you can't sleep on. He wasn't listed as one of the starters defensively tonight, but he's a guy that mixes it up, lots of tackles in the season. They'll complete it to Wilson again. He's shoved out of bounds by Micah Smith on the far side, but not before he picks up first down yardage again.
And now some of these quick-hitting plays they're starting to connect on, and it's going to be very important to try to combat this pressure.
A late substitution. Chad Ellis ran onto the field. And our head referee, Eric Metzger, wanted to provide some time for him to get out there. And now it looks like there's a little bit of confusion.
It looked like he was communicating something to the official, and then like you said, he was trying to buy some time there.
So they'll continue to wind it up. Everybody stays on the field. Play action fake. Leash throws across the middle, incomplete. He threw it behind his intended target, Gavin Cornell. But we do have a flag, and that's in the area where you typically see a hold, and this is going to cost Port Clinton 10 yards.
And it was the guy that came into the ball game, Chad Ellis, causing that as he there's no other way to put it. He got tackled right there as he was on his way to Lease. Unfortunately, the offensive lineman didn't realize ball was well gone by then, so it was a bit excessive on top of that.
1st and 20 now for Port Clinton. They'll send this snap back from their own 46. Lease rolls out, dumps it across to the right, caught by Christian Miller, steps out of one tackle, gets out of another one. He gets to the sideline near the 35-yard line where he's escorted out of bounds. Nice tackle made by Brock Myers, but he picked up every last bit that they lost on that penalty.
And that time it looked like Brownell was in coverage trying to keep up, but I'll tell you what, he's just too fast.
Pass goes to Cornell. He's got room to run. He makes a cut back towards the middle. He's off to the races. Cornell's at the 5, and he is hit at the 1-yard line. He's close. Did he get in? Yes, he did. Touchdown. A 36-yard touchdown pass from Landon Lease to Gavin Cornell. And the Redskins are an extra point away from making it a 14-7 contest with 9:54 to go in the third.
Well, and he's so dangerous, and that's why you figured it was only a matter of time before he was able to break one open. And right there, he does it, catching it behind the line of scrimmage at the start of that play, and was able just to go all the way across the formation, show off a bit of that speed. And, I mean, he's broken some records here this season, trying to get a few more under his belt.
Adam Fitt on for the extra point. Gets his left foot into it, and he will split the uprights good. 14-7, a real nice drive from Port Clinton to kickstart the second half. They had to go 65 yards, and they finished the drive with a 36-yard TD pass from Landon Lease to Gavin Cornell. With 9:51 to go in the third quarter, Sailors 14, Redskins 7 on the Lorain County Sports Network. Port Clinton went 65 yards on 9 plays, a 36-yard TD strike from Landon Lease to Gavin Cornell, cut a 14-0 deficit in half, and that was just what the doctor ordered, Max, for this Redskin offense.
And, you know, they didn't try to get it all in one play of that drive, and they set up a few nice passes there, whether it was in the flats or like on the touchdown, a screen play, and just let their athletes do the rest.
Adam Fitz set to kick it back to Vermilion. Bit of an unusual formation here on the kickoff. He'll get his left foot into it. High kick that bounces at about the 20-yard line. Picked up by Micah Smith. Smith brings it back toward the middle of the field. Makes a man miss. Turns the corner at the 30-yard line. Flags flying everywhere. And he is wrestled down at the 43-yard line. But we have 2 separate flags thrown right around the 30. And Max, that's about the area where he turned the corner and sprung a little bit loose. There's another one back at the 20-yard line as well.
What's unfortunate right there is you could tell where it was thrown as he tried to cut around his blocker who had a guy already cutting inside right near the hashes. And it looked like the defender may have left his feet on his own, but because the blocker for Vermilion may have been Saunders, I believe, was kind of in the area, they're going to throw that almost every time.
The officials working through this, waiting for the official ruling from Eric Metzger, our head referee, but the way the Sailors are marching backwards, that confirms our suspicion. It's a hold against Vermilion, and this will make them start the drive at their own 20-yard line. So that effectively will cost them about 22 yards because the kickoff was returned to about the 41-yard line.
You know, you never want to see yourself go from starting potentially at the 40 to the 20. Silver lining, this could help out Vermilion, keep the offense off the field for Port Clinton a little bit longer than maybe they otherwise would have. More yardage to work with, but obviously in a one-possession game, you're looking for points right now, and it's not going to help you get anytime sooner.
And now the officials are talking with Port Clinton head coach Eric Lutold. And I think there's a debate as to where that ball should be spotted. But Eric Metzger told him that the ball is at the 20-yard line. That's where it's staying, and it's time for us to get going. Drake Cooks waiting on the shotgun snap. Man in motion, they'll give to Coons. Coons gets around the edge left side, lowers his shoulder, and he barrels over a defender at the 25-yard line. He picks up 5 yards.
And that time the play took a little bit longer to develop than you may have wanted, but everybody was able to put a hat on a hat and create a little bit of separation, some room there for Coons to work with.
5-yard chunk. The Sailors have put the ball in the breadbasket of both Coons, and Isaac Kaiser as well has seen a few carries in this game. They've been able to get him running downhill a bit. They'll give it to Coons again, right side. Trying to be patient, waiting for a hole to open. It never did. He's tackled in the backfield for a loss of 1.
And throughout the season where he's made a lot of his money, so to speak, with a lot of the impressive performances, it's because he's able to take his time, use some patience, and wait for a hole to open up. Right now, at least in this game, outside of one big run so far, the backside pursuit has been really effective, and it's prevented him from being able to wait until the perfect opportunity to strike. Instead, he's kind of getting caught near the line of scrimmage or forced to power his way through a couple defenders.
Third down for the Sailors. They need 4 yards. Hooks, throws, left side incomplete. Led his intended target a bit too much. He wanted to get the ball into the hands of Micah Smith, and he had him open. He had a step on his defender. But again, too much on that pass, and they'll be forced to punt it away.
Yeah, it was a pretty good route there from Smith as he had around a yard or two of separation. But Hooks just kind of rolling and having to throw across his body there. Threw off the route of that pass.
Hooks will get the punt away, bounces at the midfield stripe, takes a real nice Vermilion bounce going inside the 40 of Port Clinton, and they'll spot that down near the 38. Boy, it could be a bit of an underrated aspect of any game, but the punting from Drake Hooks has been really good here tonight. You know, they don't want to give Christian Miller much room to work with in that return game. They have forced him to take a couple of gambles, and because he's able to get that punt away and keep it nice and low, that's allowed them to pick up an extra 10 to 15 yards after it hits the turf.
Yeah, and their guys on the coverage team are also playing it really well, and obviously that speaks to being in week 7 now and kind of expecting Hooks' punts to maybe go any which direction, so they've done a good job containing him tonight.
1st and 10 for Port Clinton. They call the number of Meisner. Big hole to run through up the middle before he's undercut at the Sailor 48-yard line for a first down. And now Port Clinton getting to the line quickly again.
That one felt like the result of the passing on the previous drive.
They call the number of Meisner up through the middle. He's able to work his way up to the 45 for a gain of 3.
And on the first play of the drive, we saw only around 5 guys in the box right there. They tried to add another 1 or 2 to prevent another big chunk play on the ground.
Lease looking left side, fires down the field, has a man open. He makes the catch inside the 15, and it's taken into the end zone. Touchdown. It's Martez Wilson with his first touchdown catch of the season. A 45-yard touchdown pass from Landon Lease, and all of a sudden, Port Clinton is an extra point away from tying this game up.
And those were the kinds of plays that were missing in the first half for this Port Clinton offense. And right there, we mentioned in the first drive of the second half, Wilson really hadn't been a part of the game plan in the early going here. And now he becomes, I believe, their leading receiver on the evening, by quite a bit.
The extra point is on the way, and it is good from Adam Fitt. We are deadlocked at 14 with 7:26 left in the third quarter, live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. 2 drives in the third quarter, 2 trips to the end zone for Port Clinton. As a result, we are tied at 14 apiece with just inside of 7.5 minutes left on this third quarter clock. Andy Bolbarch and Max Drummond on the call for you tonight in week 7 of this high school football season. Moments ago, Landon Lease with a 45-yard touchdown pass to Martez Wilson to tie this thing up. Kickoff bounces at the 10. That will go out of bounds near the 6. There's the flag, a procedure penalty coming up. So Vermilion will either take the ball at the 35 or they will force Port Clinton to re-kick.
Yeah, very heads-up play there by Evan Coons, and they avoid any drama that they went through on the last kickoff return attempt.
Vermilion went 3 and out on their last drive, and all the momentum currently belongs to Port Clinton. Touchdown passes of 45 and 36 yards from Landon Lease. The 36-yarder went to Gavin Cornell. The 45-yarder went to Martez Wilson. Hooks will pitch it left side to Coons, turns it up the field, and he's tackled at the 37, so he picks up just a couple on that.
And as of late, he's not been able to find too many openings, and we haven't seen them go to Isaac Kaiser as much as of late. Obviously, only their second chance here in the third quarter so far, but gotta wonder if they'll go back to a few more of those creative looks or moving Coons out of position.
They actually say he went down at the 36, so only a 1-yard gain. Some shifting going on. Saunders and Coons lined up on the right side. And this time it'll be kept. Looked like they were in formation to maybe do that double handoff, and Isaac Kaiser is cut down at the line of scrimmage. Port Clinton was not confused by that at all.
Certainly Lucas Bodie was the one that led the charge on that, as there were a couple guys that went after Coons trying to track him down because that's the top concern if you're Port Clinton. And Bodie, great job shutting down what could have been a much more effective play there on second down.
And they have put Vermilion in an uncomfortable spot. 3rd down and 9. Coons lined up in a wing on the left side. He's actually next to the tight end Saunders. Hooks will drop back. Looking down the field. Now he's in some trouble, and he gets sacked at the 34-yard line. The pocket collapsed very quickly, and Caleb Spencer was once again right in the mix.
And it's a tough ask for the offensive line and a few other of the players that stayed in to help block. It's only a 3-man route pattern, and most of them were pretty far past the first down marker, so there wasn't really a check down he could go to there.
Hooks will let another low one loose. Bounces at the 45 of Port Clinton. That will go inside the Redskins' 40-yard line, and it went out near the 37.
Well, we mentioned coming out of halftime that Landon Lease, he had missed his last 6 pass attempts so far here in the first 2 drives, 6 for 6 and 117 yards, opening up this third quarter on fire.
We talked about how in this game they have missed Malachi Pinkleton, another guy that they've relied on a little bit in the running game and to some degree in the passing game as well. And Jace Cornell, he's the cousin of Gavin Cornell. We've not seen him on the field in tonight's game either. So they came into this thing hobbling a bit, but that certainly hasn't played much of a role so far. Lease will fire right side, caught by Gavin Cornell in the flat. This is a play they scored a touchdown on. He works his way back toward the middle of the field, and he's corralled at the 48 of Vermilion, and they'll move the sticks again.
And definitely the same in concept. They had a nice little wrinkle there with the fake handoff to the left, and as soon as Lease turned around, Cornell was wide open.
And unfortunately for Port Clinton, they have another injured player down. And the training staff will come on out there to take a look. While this is going on, we want to remind you that if you want the scores and more than just the final scores throughout the course of the night, make sure you tune in to WOBL and WDLW. Use that free mobile app to tune in as well. If you can't get the signal on your radio dial, you can also watch on that free Facebook live stream as well. So you can not only hear the velvety baritones, but you can also see the $1 million smile of the one and only John Guzik, Paul Williams, Johnny G, and David Q back there as well. the fearsome foursome back at the Radio Ranch as they give you the final scores. They'll talk to some of the game-winning coaches and also some of the players as well. It's Gavin Cornell, the injured player. He's hobbling off as he works his way toward that far sideline. He does so much for this team, Max. That is a guy that Port Clinton just cannot do without.
Yeah, and it's an offense that was already a little short-handed coming in tonight, as we've alluded to a few times. But even without them, I mean, he can flip a game script in one play. We saw it last drive. And also his contributions on the defensive side of the ball can't go unnoticed. So if he's not able to come back tonight, that's a huge hit to Port Clinton.
First down and 10 coming out of the injury timeout. Port Clinton inside Vermilion territory again. This has become familiar territory here in the second half for the Redskins. Meisner on the carry, works the middle, and works his way up to the 46. He gets just a couple on first down.
And majority of his runs have been kind of shut down or don't go too far, but he seems to be falling forward quite a bit. And so far here in the second half, he's doing enough to keep them on schedule and comfortable setting up a few of these pass plays off of these runs.
Beckett Meisner, 6 feet tall, 195 pounds, a junior. He's carried a bulk of the load in the running game tonight. And now we've got motion. Somebody moved early. Both sides are pointing at each other here. I don't know who the culprit was. And it looks like Port Clinton is going to get tagged with the penalty. Well, they had sent Wyatt Sifke in motion, but it looked like there was some movement on the line as that motion was going on.
Yeah, on the far side, like he has many times tonight, Sean Brownell stepped up to the line of scrimmage. I think he spooked the left side over there as it looked like either Julian Curry or Simon Mishook may have flinched before the snap.
Sifke goes in motion again. They give it to Beckett Meisner. Meisner tripped up, and he got to the 48-yard line, so he gets a couple on that, not a lot. And they're staring down the barrel of third down and long.
And this is the first time we've seen them have to combat this half. We'll see if they stick to these screens that has been successful or try to go downfield with it.
Lease dropping back, fires, has a man open. The pass is caught along the far side for a first down at the 31-yard line. They were able to complete that to Aiden Meister.
And yeah, another guy getting involved for the first time this evening. Great setup right there.
They'll give it to Meisner again. Room to run up the middle, dragged down at the 29. Sometimes you've got to create different elements in your passing attack, and you've got to dig a little bit deeper out of the bench, and so far Port Clinton has done that tonight. Lease, time to throw. Now he's being pressured, and he'll get sacked back at the 35-yard line. The pressure got to him that time, and they'll lose about 3 yards.
And obviously they did a great job up front there to be able to break through pretty quickly, but I believe Micah Smith was covering the first read, and because he had him walled off and not even a chance to get open, it led to the sack.
That was Sean Brownell on the sack, and that's a name we've said a lot here tonight. Missed a few games due to injury. Lease looking across the middle. The pass falls incomplete. Undershot his intended target, Christian Miller, and it'll be fourth down and long.
And he was forced to throw in a pump fake right there to try to buy Miller a few more seconds to get open. Unfortunately, though, just like you said, ball came in a little bit low, and that leads to a decision to make here on fourth down.
Well, they've got Lease back at the 49. They put some guesswork into the equation the last time they were faced with a scenario like this. He lined up with the shotgun, then backpedaled a bit, and you got the impression he was going to get a pooch punt off. But in that instance, the snap actually went over his head. A good snap sent back to him. This time he got a nice punt off. Bounces inside the 15-yard line, takes a really nice Port Clinton bounce, and it'll be down near the 6.
Yeah, because of how slow the ball was moving, Micah Smith, unfortunately, had no choice but to let it just roll and end up where it may.
2:36 is what the third quarter clock reads. Vermilion has a ways to go at their own 6-yard line, and they have not been able to get the offense on track in the third quarter.
And this will be their among their worst starting field position of the night. So we've seen them work with some short fields to get in the end zone. Now they're going to be forced to go the length of it if they want to break this 14-14 tie.
Haven't seen Gavin Cornell come back out of the field after the injury. You know, we talk a lot about his offensive numbers. He came into this game with 68 tackles in the season. They'll send a man in motion. It's Worth. They give to Coons. Coons tries the middle, has some room, keeps his legs moving, gets past the 10 to about the 12.
And that's a good sign right there if you're the Vermilion, not just the fan base, but the offensive line. You get a little bit more positivity than you've seen the last few times they tried to run the ball.
And you're in a scenario where you're a bit more comfortable, right? You pick up about 5 yards on first down, maybe 6. This is kind of their speed.
And it definitely will give them another couple chances here to stay on the ground rather than feel like being forced to go to the air.
Hooks wants the snap, and they'll give this one right up the middle to Coons again. He's got first down yardage, goes to the grass near the 17-yard line, then they'll move the sticks.
Well, I know you mentioned his yards per carry earlier in the game, and it's outstanding at 11. I know it's high school, so we probably don't get as deep of a dive. I'd love to see the yards after contact because it took around 3 different Port Clinton defenders to bring him down right there.
And on this drive, you get the sense that he's starting to run downhill a little bit, right? The first guy that more or less accepts him kind of gets bounced back.
He knows what he's signing up for.
Yes. Drake Cooks wants the snap, gets it. They'll give to Coons again. Big hole up the middle. He's undercut at the 25-yard line, stays on his feet, still going past the 30, and finally tackled at the 31-yard line.
And Armendariz, it didn't look like he wrapped when he came with the shoulder right there, and Coons, somehow the athlete that he is, stayed on his feet. Wow, get a look at that. Talk about balance.
And now we've got whistles, and unfortunately for Port Clinton, they have another injury with a player down near the 35-yard line. We'll take this timeout as well. 1:10 to play in the third quarter. We're tied at 14 between Vermilion and Port Clinton on the Lorain County Sports Network. Brody Bollinger, the injured player, he's able to get off the field to the far sideline, and hopefully we'll see him back in this game soon. 1st and 10 coming out of the injury timeout for Vermilion. Pass goes left side. It's caught by Schaub with a flat. Schaub able to get to the 35 where he's torn down after a pickup of about 4 yards.
And with how much green grass he had as soon as he caught it, it looked like there may have been potential for a lot more, but that's just a case of nobody being out there. And they also sent a blitz off the edge with Lucas Bodie, who I'm not sure if they were trying to replace him with somebody in a zone coverage down there in the flat, but whoever it was did not get there in time.
A great atmosphere here on homecoming in Vermilion. Sailor Nation has certainly gotten into this one. Ball's in the turf. It was a botched handoff. Trey Cooks looked like he jumped on the loose ball near the 33. So Vermilion recovers that, and they avoid disaster. We've only had 1 turnover in this game. It was an interception by Aiden Kaiser. Nothing came of it, and now it's 3rd down and 8 for the Sailors.
And it just never had the handoff after him and Hooks tried to exchange it there, and he's being hit by Gavin Cornell, who's back in the ball game now, and was able to prevent him from getting back on it. Very fortunate for the Sailors.
3 down, 1 to go. We are headed into the 4th quarter, all tied at 14 apiece between Vermilion and Port Clinton. It's live and it's free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. Coming up on 3rd down and 8 for Vermilion. They're still in their own territory at their own 33-yard line. This drive began at their own 6-yard line. We're tied at 14 apiece. And there was some movement initially, but that's because they were not ready for play. Now we are. Drake Hooks fires right side. And the pass is caught on a double pass. They'll send it down the field. Worth makes the catch at the 40-yard line. Taken down at the Port Clinton 36. A double pass. It was Dawson Coates, the freshman, who caught the initial pass from Drake Hooks, and then he fired a bullet down the field to Zach Worth, and on 3rd and long, they execute a trick play to perfection.
Yet nobody saw it coming, and Worth just able to slip out from the wing or the tight end spot, wherever they may have had him. You'll see right there, you would have seen right there on your screen. And, I mean, the closest guy was Cornell, but he had about a 5-yard gap to try to catch up to.
That has re-energized the near sideline. They'll send a man in motion. The give will go to Coons. Coons stood up and dropped in the backfield at the 39-yard line. And that was Lucas Bodie, the junior linebacker, who took him down for a loss of 3.
Yeah, we've seen Bodie step up a few times now from that linebacker spot. And it's because he took on the lead blocker. So not only did he shut down Sean Brownell trying to seal him off there, he gets off of that and makes a huge hit.
This Port Clinton defense. One play after giving up a huge chunk of yards, they come through the big tackle in the backfield. They have been tested here tonight. Schaub goes in motion. They'll give it to him. Turns it up the field. He made the first man miss, but he's wrestled down to the 36, picking up what was lost on that first down play, so it's 3rd down and 10.
And really just kind of a bit of a setup play there is give Coons a little bit of a break. And even though it's 3rd and 10, if I'm Vermilion, I'm factoring him into this play somehow, even if it's as a passer out of the back. Check that. He's not even in the game right now, so they're going to have to find somebody else to step up.
Yeah, he is actually sitting on the bench on that Vermilion sideline. They have Hooks under center, moving some pieces around, offset I formation. And they will hand this one off. And getting up to about the 34-yard line, but not much more, was Zach Worth. He picks up just a couple, setting up 4th down.
And without Coons in the game right there, like we've talked about, you got a couple guys who get some carries here and there, but just the X factor and the way to turn 3 yards into 13 or more, just not present right now. And if they do choose to go for it here, got to imagine it's going to lie on Drake Hooks, and just got to buy him some time.
You can either pin him real deep or keep the offense on the field and go for it. It's 4th down and 8. Snap taken. The pass will go right side. Caught by Brock Myers. Gets a big block to the 30-yard line. Ball pops up into the air, and it'll be recovered by Port Clinton at the 26-yard line. He would have been short of 1st down yardage anyways, so while it is a turnover, it's not the worst thing that could have happened, because even if that ball was recovered where it was fumbled by Vermilion, they still would have been short.
Well, and you saw the reason the ball came out is because he was extending, trying to get to around maybe the 26 or so, but when he left his feet, he was a couple yards outside of that. And like you said, not too much harm done, but definitely all the momentum now in favor of Port Clinton, and Vermilion's defense with a big ask here, trying to step up and slow down what's been a pretty effective offense this half.
Evan Coons is back into the game now defensively for Vermilion. And Landon Lease, who has picked up steam in the second half with that right arm of his, has this passing attack working well. They'll give it to Beckett Meisner. Meisner gets out of one tackle, and he works his way to the right hash up to about the 28, picking up 2 yards on 1st down.
And you mentioned getting away from a tackler. I thought Chad Ellis somehow, someway was going to find a way to trip him up there, as despite being just 210, he mans the middle of that 3-man front.
2nd down and 8. Meisner gets the carry again, and he's corralled at the 29-yard line. The left side of that defensive front for Vermilion was just not going to let him run loose.
And I'm pretty surprised with how well they've been able to hit some of their receivers here in this half, that they elected to run it again on second down there. Obviously still in a pretty comfortable spot for them on a 3rd and 7. They're no stranger to this when it comes to passing, but a little bit shocked to see it.
Sifke, the man in motion. Lease back to pass. Looks left. Throws left. The pass is caught by Christian Miller at the 40. Dances his way out of 2 tackles. He's off to the races. Inside Vermilion territory at the 40. And he's ripped down at the Sailors 25. What a pickup on 3rd down. Christian Miller picks up huge yards after the catch.
Well, and you could see it. Lease had one read the entire way. It was either going to Miller or to nobody, and Miller just makes the most happen after the catch.
That's a name we've called a ton tonight. They'll fake, they give to Meisner. Pass goes right side in the corner of the end zone, incomplete. He was searching for Martez Wilson.
Yeah, and that pass to Miller, it sets him up now. He's got 3 catches, 58 yards on the night. Definitely won't be surprised if they use him a few more times here.
Lease hands off to Meisner, steps left side, and he's undercut inside the 20-yard line, got to maybe the 18. He's close, but I think from here he's a little short.
And we've seen them like to go to the running game a little bit here in the second half. We'll see if they try to get it here or if they go for a shock play that Vermilion may not be expecting down the field.
3rd down and short. They're looking left side for Miller again. He's got to step on his defender, but that pass had too much air under it. It falls out of bounds in the back of the end zone.
Well, he had a fantastic release off the line. There's been a lot of those here as the game has gone on.
And we have some laundry as well. It's a hold going against Port Clinton.
And that's the risk you run. They try to be a little aggressive there, see if they can catch Vermilion napping, assuming, okay, we'll still have a 4th and short to work with, but now you're certainly in a passing situation here.
3rd down and 12 now. They fake the give to the right side. They'll throw it to Cornell. Cornell gets out of 1 tackle. Then he gets bumped on the far sideline. He goes out of bounds. He took a pretty big shot at the end of that play. James Bangle, the safety, lowered the boom that time, and it'll be 4th down.
Yeah, good job closing out on that by the homecoming king, as he was able to fit right around one of his fellow teammates that were taking on the blocker and just forces him to the sideline.
So now it's 4th down and 6. Ball lined up just inside the 22-yard line. They're in no hurry to get this play up. There's 10 seconds left in the play clock. And they're in a bit of a different formation here. 2 receivers in the short side of the field. They're confused, and they're going to call a timeout. Not surprised there, because this is an offense that's been rhythmic. They've been quick to get to the line. They were anything but there in that huddle, almost as if they were anticipating having to take a timeout to talk this over.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was some confusion that happened, or maybe the getting Cornell back in bounds after he was tackled out of bounds there threw off some of their timing. But in a 4th quarter that's this close, I don't know if you want to go out of your way to use a timeout or predetermine it, especially when you had a little bit of time to work with there.
To your point, you know, we're tied at 14 here, right? You don't know when you're going to need to use those timeouts or if you'll need to use them. But perhaps it speaks to the confidence that Garrett Lutolt has with the way this offense is playing right now.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they are very confident what their pass catchers are doing. They've been able to, they're left one-on-one on islands for the most part, and they a lot of times trust their guy over the guy covering them, and it's probably going to come down to that here. Is I can't imagine they would throw something at the line of scrimmage or one of these screens because you're asking the receiver to do a lot after the catch. And Cornell appears to be coming out of the game for this 4th down.
Well, he did take a pretty big pop from James Bangle, the homecoming king, as you mentioned. Empty backfield. They'll fire. Right side. The pass is caught. Knocked out of bounds on the far sideline. They're going to be short. They tried to go to that quick pass on the right side, throwing that into the waiting arms of Wyatt Yarborough. But Yarborough's going to be a few yards short. And that Vermilion Sailor defense able to step up and make a really big play.
When we talked about it right before the snap, I mean, if that's Gavin Cornell, one of the fastest guys on the field, you trust him to go and just get 6 or 7 yards. But right there, just took a little too long to develop, and going to the boundary side of the field, Vermilion defensive linemen and linebackers, I mean, they closed out almost instantly.
Sailors will get the ball inside their own 20. They've got this spotted at the 18 of Vermilion. 7:06 to go, fourth quarter. We're tied at 14 apiece. Trey Cooks at the line, working out of the shotgun, takes the snap. They'll give this one right side, and Coons just doesn't have anywhere to go. Down at the 19, only a 1-yard gain. And I don't know that we could say enough good things about this Port Clinton defensive front. They've been so stout tonight.
Yeah, and they've held him to half of his normal average for Coons. I mean, he's right around 5.5 instead. And unfortunately for Vermilion, this is a spot where you normally expect to lean on him. But with a lot of the tough sledding here in the second half caused by this defense, they may have to look for alternatives. They're going to be asking him to do a lot here down the stretch.
Hooks will hand it off again, but we have a whistle, we've got a flag, and we have somebody lined up in the neutral zone for Port Clinton. This is a big one, Max. It'll cost them 5 yards. It was 2nd and 9. Now they're looking at 2nd and 4.
And we've seen the occasional penalty tonight, but none bigger than right there. I mean, you had them behind schedule, possibly forcing them into a 3rd and long if you could force another nice stop right there. And now, I mean, this is a mulligan here for Vermilion.
Coming up on the 6-minute mark here in the fourth quarter. Long ways to go for the Sailors as they have it at their own 24-yard line. Coons on the carry again. He'll take it up to about the 31-yard line. That'll be more than enough to move the sticks. And check that. That was Kaiser on the carry.
And they've used him seldomly, but 7 carries, 33 yards. He's doing just enough to give a breather to Coons. And right there moves the chains. And we talked about those timeouts maybe coming into play. You don't know. It's not a guarantee Port Clinton gets the ball back here, and if it gets low enough, they may have to start using some timeouts.
Kaiser is the tailback, lined up off the left side of the quarterback hooks. They've got Coons lined up in a wing on the right side. They give to Kaiser again. Tries the middle, spun away from one defender, and he's tackled at the 34, so about a 3-yard gain.
As they're just trying their best to keep battering away at the middle of that defensive line. But there's not a whole lot of movement going on up front as of late.
Not sure how I missed Kaiser before. You made the comment to me during the pregame show. He's got the old school neck roll, man. You don't see that anymore.
Well, no, not only does he have that, him as well as Aiden Kaiser, they both got casts on at least one arm. So the fact that he's in a ball carrier role as well, is even more impressive.
They'll pitch it left side to Coons, trying to turn the corner. He does. He's got room to run. He's cut down after picking up first down yardage at the 43.
Now do a bit for your confidence there if you're Evan Coons as he finds a little bit of space there as they get closer to midfield. And we're getting into a 4-minute drill scenario.
In the second half, the Vermilion Sailors have punted and they have fumbled, although that kind of worked the same as a turnover on downs because as we talked about at the time when the fumble happened, they weren't going to have first down yardage in a 4th down scenario.
And even despite the quick scores from Port Clinton, I mean, there's been a lot, just very few possessions.
Hooks in some trouble, fires right side, has a man wide open. It's caught at the 49-yard line of Port Clinton and taken out of bounds near the 38-yard line. Chase Jackson, a huge grab and picked up about 10 yards after making that catch, and Vermilion is on the move.
And once again, that's another case, and we've seen it from both sides tonight. Guys who maybe aren't as much in the rotation or get as many looks, they're stepping up in big ways tonight. And that wouldn't have been possible without Drake Hooks doing a great job navigating through that pocket, buying himself an extra second or two to get that pass off to Jackson.
Drake Cooks has a couple of receivers lined up to the far side. Takes the high snap, pulls it down. He'll hand this one off to Kaiser. Kaiser's tripped up at the 25-yard line. They'll move the chain gang again, but he was oh so close to taking that one to the house.
Really was. Almost looked like he was going to do his best Evan Coons impression as he shot through there. It looked like there was nobody that was going to stop him. Great play by that time. I believe that was Bollinger coming in to trip him up at the final second.
Isaac Kaiser has had his number called a lot here tonight. Answered the bell that time, the big first down pickup. 3.5 minutes to play in this one. Tied at 14 apiece. Vermilion on the move. 1st and 10 at the Port Clinton 24. And they'll hand this one off right side and just not a whole lot of room to operate. And Coons took that up to about the 23 maybe, so he gets just a couple of yards. We've got whistles. And we have an injured player down on the field for the Sailors near the 21-yard line. Want to make sure you stay tuned, because coming up at the end of this one, we've got the Spitzer Auto World and Amherst post-game show. We have some awards to give away. And when we're done tonight, we encourage all of you to tune in to Johnny G, David Q, Paul Williams, and John Guzik on the Spitzer Auto World of Amherst scoreboard show. They'll give you all the scores from across the area. They'll talk to the game-winning coaches and players and much, much more. And by the end of the night tonight, Max, we should have a much better idea as to what the playoff contenders have to do to maintain their seeding with the last 3 weeks of the season coming up.
Yeah, tonight's going to go a long way, especially in Vermilion's region, being at Division 4 Region 14th. The 4th and the 8th seeded teams, as they are right now, are just one playoff point apart. So there's a lot that can change based on the results we see tonight.
And it'll be a bit of a tough slate. You know, Vermilion has Edison in a couple of weeks. They've got Huron next week. Boy, they hadn't beaten them, I believe, since the 1960s, right? Last year was the game-winning field goal in the waning moments of the contest. So that's a series where they have not done well particularly, and unfortunately for Vermilion, the injured young man down on the field is Evan Kuntz.
I believe he was a blocker on that play. Hate to see it happen like that.
Dan Schultz, trainer of the Vermilion Sailors, a gentleman I shared many hotel rooms with in our days in the Frontier League with the Lake Erie Crushers. Trainer Dan, as he's known in these parts in Vermilion. Great guy. You kind of have to be to put up with me on the road.
Oh, come on, you're not so bad. Don't say so.
Well, you're stuck with me on Friday nights. Poor Dan was stuck with me for the entire summer of 2014 and 2015. End, huh? Yeah. He never got a break from me. Although I've got to talk to him because he's got these purple shoes, man, I'm very envious of. With my Crusher job of the summer, man, I need some purple kicks.
Need to hook you up like they do the Vermilion staff around here.
Yeah, he's not the only one, right? No. I've seen a few fans with those as well. Coons comes off the field. It'll be 2nd down and 8 from the 22 of Port Clinton. Hooks will hand it off. This is taken straight up the gut to the 19-yard line. So they pick up positive yardage. A flag comes in at the end of the play. Things are getting a little testy. Now keep in mind, the end result was just a 3-yard pickup. And after a 3-yard gain, you're looking at 3rd down and about 5, but with the flag thrown into the equation here, that means an automatic 1st down for the Sailors, a personal foul against Port Clinton.
Well, and it was completely unnecessary. I mean, sometimes you get some guys that they're showing effort at the end of a play, whether it's for tackling or between a blocker and a defender. Right there, the pile was set, and somebody just chose to jump on. I mean, you can't have that, especially any time of a game, especially at this point with 3 minutes to go.
Second penalty of this drive on Port Clinton. First one came in a 2nd down scenario where they had sniffed out a run to just a 1-yard gain and made that next play a little more manageable. 1st down and go. They give it to Kaiser. He weaves his way through the middle and he gets up to about the 1-yard line. He stopped on the right hash about a yard shy of the goal line.
And Aiden Kaiser that time doing a bit of damage right there, as he's got to have the freshest legs of anybody getting his first carry of the night.
And we have a timeout on the field, timeout called. And this one, I believe, was called by Port Clinton. We're trying to sort through that. Actually, no, it's an official's timeout. The referee, Eric Metzger, pointed to his chest. So we have an official's timeout, although in that scenario, that's really unusual. I almost get the impression somebody called for time, but Metzger wasn't sure who called for it.
And we'll see if he gives us an indication, as it didn't appear it was close enough. I mean, you're not going to do a chain measurement on the goal line. Okay.
It was a timeout called by Port Clinton. And I think he wants some more time put on the clock as well. Well, to go back to something you had mentioned, they took that timeout on their last drive, and at the time you said, and I totally agreed, it seems like a strange spot to call for a timeout where you had plenty of time left on the play clock to figure out what you wanted to do.
Yeah, and in a spot where obviously you're going to go for it because you may not have had a better opportunity at that good a field position, 4th and 6. And you never know what plays into it for a guy, whether it's stamina and if he can remain out there, if he's dealing with something. But Cornell came out the game after the timeout, so it almost felt like they took the timeout and then didn't leave their best bet on the table. So it's definitely something that they'll look back on and maybe try to figure out a few things based off of it.
2nd and goal at the 1. They've got Kaisers lined up in the I formation. Hooks takes the snap, tries the quarterback sneak. He gets awfully close, and the official on the near side says he did not get in. They stop him short, setting up 3rd down and goal. And Port Clinton has burned their final timeout.
Well, we saw it work earlier in the game, but right there getting right under the center was Caleb Spencer, and he just blew that play up. I had no chance for any movement after that for Hooks.
Well, if Vermilion is able to punch it in, more than likely it would happen in the next 10 seconds of game time, which means somewhere in the general vicinity of 2:20, 2:15. That's about how much time would be left for Port Clinton.
Unfortunately for Port Clinton, I mean, it's not an ideal position, but if there's any offense that we've seen this season that is kind of ready-made for that spot, it is them. So it doesn't put as much pressure on your defense, but they've already been able to get a couple of stops here. Maybe they've got a couple more in them.
And again, they're doing this without Evan Coons, who's on the sideline, came off a few plays ago. And they'll have Kaisers lined up in the I formation again. Aiden Kaiser, the deep back. Isaac Kaiser, the fullback. Hooks hands it off to Isaac Kaiser, and he punches it in from 1 yard out. Touchdown, Sailors. Isaac Kaiser takes it in to give Vermilion a 20-14 lead with 2:22 left in this 4th quarter clock.
Nothing too complex about that. Just give it to one of the Kaiser brothers, and they're going to find pay dirt. And it didn't even have to be as hard as you'd think it would. I mean, the offensive line just opened up that right A gap, and he walked right on in.
What a drive. Micah Smith's extra point has plenty of distance, and it is good. 21-14 Vermilion with 2:22 left in the 4th quarter. Live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. A 13-play, 82-yard drive for the Vermilion Sailors, and they score on a 1-yard touchdown rush from Isaac Kaiser to make it 21-14. 2 minutes, 22 seconds. That's what that 4th quarter clock reads. Micah Smith will get his right foot into it. High kick. It'll be retrieved by Christian Miller at about the 9-yard line, and he will take this up to the 20. He's going to take this to the right side. He's got some room to one. Steps out of a tackle at the 30-yard line, and the Sailors will catch up to him near the 33. Boy, an adventurous return, and Christian Miller is just a tough guy to corral.
Yeah, and that's why it's been so impressive throughout the night that they've been able to stay in their lanes, keep that integrity, and keep him reined in. But right there, he gets a nice spot of field position. You know, since it's over 2 minutes, I'm not going to get too nitpicky. You wonder if maybe he took a little more time than you wanted. You want your offense out there, but when you start past the 30, I don't think anybody on that sideline is going to complain.
Last time they had the ball, they turned the ball over on downs. They had gotten inside the red zone, but there were some penalties and there were a couple of things that redirected them. We've got whistles from the official on the near side, and a timeout has been called by Vermilion. Well, Zach Worth was looking to the coaches on the near side, just kind of threw his arms up in the air as if he saw something he didn't like. They appeared to be off kilter a bit. So a good timeout because, as you mentioned, Max, this is an offense that we've seen a couple times already. They can strike very quickly.
Yeah, and it looked like there was a lot of one-on-one situations going on with the receivers, and we know they like to spread them out, even going outside the numbers at times. And I think he saw we might need to have a couple more guys in coverage out here instead, because it looked like to me there may have been 6 guys in the box, and in this spot, I don't know if you want to commit that many to around the line of scrimmage.
Coming out of that timeout, situation remains the same. It's first down and 10 for the Redskins at their own 32-yard line. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left in this one. Vermilion leads 21-14. Landon Lease will grab the snap. They give to Beckett Meisner. Gets around the edge left side. He's hit at the 41-yard line before going out of bounds. Vermilion was calling for a hold. They certainly thought they had a case, but no flags thrown. It's a 9-yard gain.
Well, and as soon as I think they're going to go to the air here to start the drive, instead they go around Julian Curry, the left tackle, who is at the center of some of those groans. We'll see what they go with here under 2 minutes, or at 2 minutes.
Meisner gets the carry again, straight up the middle. He's dragged down near the 43. That's close to where he had to get to move the sticks. And it looks like he's got it. He does.
So choosing to start off with some easy plays here, but they'll have to kick it into high gear soon.
Fake to give to Meisner. Lease has time. Now he's being flushed out to his right. Throws right side. The pass is completed right around the 47-yard line. And that was Gavin Cornell, who was whipped to the turf after hauling that in, and he's a little slow to get up.
And we know he was slow to get up earlier in the game, and being spun around like that, it can be a very delicate thing there. It was a good job corralling him that time by the Vermilion defense.
Less than 90 seconds to go in this one. Port Clinton on the move again. They'll fake the give to Meisner. Lease throws this one deep down the field, and the pass is caught by Christian Miller inside the 10-yard line. He's tackled at the 7. Oh, what a grab by Christian Miller in traffic. Somehow Landon Lease was able to thread the needle between 2 Sailor defenders.
I mean, that shouldn't have been possible because there was incredible coverage by Smith, and he even had Worth over the top trying to come in and help it. Like he said, he just fit it into a very tight window that time.
Lease throws that into the grass to stop the clock at 1:09. What a completion by Landon Lease to Christian Miller. That's a sophomore-to-sophomore connection at a clutch moment in this game.
It gets him up over 100 yards as this second half. He has been very effective out on the outside, and he continues to be left in almost one-on-one coverage. Even if there is a safety bracketed over to that side, it really hasn't made a difference.
They'll send a man in motion near side left. The give will go to Beckett Meisner, but he is dragged out of the backfield. Didn't have anywhere to go. And Max, the second he received that handoff, he had a couple of purple jerseys right there to greet him.
Yeah, and I wanted to get a little more comfortable here in this first and goal situation, but you got to pick up those blitzing linebackers, and they did not there.
3rd down and goal. Lease fires across the middle. The pass is knocked away, incomplete. He was trying to get that to Gavin Cornell. And here comes the play of the game. It'll be 4th down and goal. 44.9 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Does this Vermilion defense have one last stand in them tonight? Port Clinton's out of timeouts. They're going to shift personnel. Gavin Cornell lined up as the quarterback of the Wildcat. They send Miller in motion. Cornell rolling out. He's in some trouble. He throws to the back of the end zone. Has Martez Wilson wide open. He makes the catch. Touchdown. A 10-yard touchdown pass from Gavin Cornell to Martez Wilson. A trick play with 30 seconds left.
And, you know, we've seen Landon Lease make some plays on the run and extend plays right there. Gavin Cornell, you expect him to be moving around like that down the field, not when he's loading up ready to throw the ball into the back of the end zone. And an even better job by Wilson of keeping the play alive as well, looking for an opening, and they found it. Wow.
Adam Fitt on to try and tie this game at 21 apiece. What a thriller here in Vermilion. They'll send the snap back. It's high. The hold is down. The extra point on the way, and good. How about that? We are deadlocked at 21 apiece on 4th down and goal. A trick play. Gavin Cornell on the touchdown pass to Martez Wilson. 35 seconds left in this one. Boy, what a drive. 68 yards on 8 plays. No timeouts with just 2:10 left in the contest. And the sophomore, Landon Lease, leads the charge down the field.
Man, you can't ask for much more on a Friday night. I mean, this feels, we've been alluding to the playoff implications. This feels like a playoff game tonight with the way these guys are playing.
Yeah, we have been treated to a terrific one tonight. Vermilion does have a couple of timeouts left to work with. Whether they use them or not probably depends on what happens on this return.
Yeah.
And again, they're playing without Evan Coons, who left with an injury a little while ago. And that affects them on both sides of the ball. A squib kick is retrieved by Shaw at the 35-yard line. He's banged out of bounds on the near side at the 41. And a flag comes in at the end of the play. I'm not sure who this is going on. Nobody on the Vermilion side is celebrating right now.
Well, there was some anger from some of the staff over there, possibly. I'm not sure if, yeah, something definitely may have been said along the sideline. Oh, boy.
That's a personal foul going against Vermilion, and that is a really big one because they would have had the ball near the 42-yard line. Shaw took off his helmet in disbelief. He was the one on the return. But that totally changes the complexion here. 31 seconds left.
I was just about to mention it was a very confident, aggressive play to grab that ball. And I was very surprised the squib came out there from Port Clinton with how little time is left. And we'll see. It doesn't look like they're going to try to do too much.
Well, they're lined up in that victory formation. They'll take a knee. Of course, using victory formation in a scenario like this seems a little strange, but let's just say they were willing to concede the final 30 seconds left on this 4th quarter clock. 4 will not be enough here tonight. We are headed into overtime between Vermilion and Port Clinton, all tied at 21 apiece. We'll take a timeout and come back right after this, live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. 4 quarters not enough. We have gone into overtime tonight. 21-21 is our count in this one, and what a thrilling second half it was. What a thrilling night this has been. It was 14-0 Vermilion at the half. That third quarter belonged to the Port Clinton Redskins as they scored in their first 2 drives to tie things up at 14 apiece. And then Vermilion was able to take over and score in a 1-yard touchdown rush from Isaac Kaiser. They were up 21-14 with just over 2 minutes to go. And it didn't take long for Port Clinton to march down the field. They were able to score a 10-yard pass on 4th down and goal, a trick play to knot this thing up. And here we are, Max.
Yeah, both sides finding a way to keep the game alive, and especially for Port Clinton, who will start on defense, it appears, as that offense, as it was shown at the end of regulation, you want them in a position to be the last ones on the field.
I don't know how many high school football games I have called over the years. I can tell you this is the first overtime game I have ever called. I did one in college in my Bowling Green days, 20-plus years ago in the Urban Meyer era. And that was an absolute thriller between Bowling Green, who was nationally ranked at the time in Western Michigan. But I've never done one at the high school level. And we've been kind of digging through the archives here, and we believe this might be a Lorain County Sports Network first.
Yes, we've covered a lot of different sports, but I believe in the sport of high school football, this is our first crack at it. And I haven't seen this since my playing days back in 2017, so I'm ecstatic to get to be a part of this one.
Again, no Evan Koontz, unfortunately, for Vermilion. Injured in the 4th quarter. His pads are off, so we will not see him the rest of the night. Hooks will have Kaiser off his right hip. The give will go to Isaac Kaiser. He's continuing to move his feet forward to push the pile up to maybe the 16-yard line. Driving forward 4 yards on first down.
I was just about to say, it'll be interesting to see how fatigue plays a role here, and already we have one player slow to get up.
Boy, physically, this is really drained and bruised both sides here tonight, Max. You figured that it might, coming in, we talked about the injuries and how they had really added up for Port Clinton. They were without a couple of key cogs, and, well, for Vermilion, they are without their big horse in Evan Coons, and there have been a couple of other guys who have been dinged up throughout the night as well.
And it's moments like this, and as you mentioned right there, coming into the game a little shorthanded for Port Clinton and for Vermilion. They've both taken some hits tonight in that category. It's now time to see who rallies together more and is able to just, at this point, whatever it takes, find a way to win.
Lucas Bodie, the injured player for Port Clinton, he will head off to the far sideline, and we're looking at 2nd down and 6 for the Sailors.
That's a huge blow to that defense. He set the edge all night.
Kaiser will get the carry again. He's able to twist his way up to maybe the 14. He doesn't have much there, setting up 3rd down and 4.
Now you're in a really interesting intermediate spot right now, as you could continue to try to lean on this ground game, but that would probably leave you up to 2 plays to get it, and that's if you trust your offense to go back-to-back plays and on 4th down like that.
Isaac Kaiser has been the primary ball carrier with Coons out. And they're going to hand this one off on the inside. They try to get it to Zach Worth, and he had nowhere to go. He's pummeled back at the 18-yard line.
And they tried a little bit of deception there. We haven't really seen them do the jet sweep and actually give it to the motion man too often tonight, and maybe see a bit why there, as the penetration was just too much to handle for that offensive line, and now it likely rests on Drake Hooks here in this 4th down situation.
4th down and 7. Got to get to the 10-yard line to keep this drive going. There appears to be a little confusion. They've got less than 5 seconds left on the play clock. They may have to burn a timeout here. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. They do call for a timeout. That play came in late from the sideline. They were talking to Brock Myers as he was the man to message that into the huddle. And now Port Clinton, you can see on that far sideline, they are very fired up.
And they have every right to be. I mean, they fought and clawed their way back into this game. And it feels only fitting that their defense come out with a stop after the past couple weeks. They've kind of struggled a bit, and the offense has had to try to carry them. So what a turn of events it would be for that sideline if your defense is the one that goes out and makes this impact play right here.
What a battle. Last time we were in Vermilion, it came down to the final moments of the game. A field goal for the Sailors last year, and a win over Huron, a team they hadn't beaten in a half a century. Here tonight, taking on Port Clinton. A game that coming in on paper seemed like it favored the Sailors, but here we are in overtime. First overtime session. 4th and 17 for the Sailors. 4th and 7, rather, for the Sailors, the 17. Hooks will drop back. Pressure coming. Dumps it across the middle. And the pass is caught, but it's well short of a first down. They were able to get it to Zach Worth. He got hit at the 14-yard line. However, we've got some laundry on the field. A roughing the passer penalty going against Port Clinton. Oh, my.
And that's another time now this evening that penalties have struck Port Clinton at the worst time possible. And our camera went away, obviously, to Worth and trying to see if he could get the first down, but looked like two different defenders piled on top of Hooks there, and maybe they drove him too far into the ground that time. And that's going to be a huge first down now.
Wow. Wow. Now it's 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Kaiser's in the I formation. They will give this one to Isaac Kaiser. He's able to tumble his way up to the 5.
And this is what we saw a bit on their final drive, or their second to last drive on offense in the 4th quarter. Once they got in this goal-to-go situation, it was no surprise or no shock to where they were going and who was getting it. And it's probably going to be more of the same here.
Ball on the right hash. It's 2nd and goal at the 5. Hooks has Isaac Kaiser off his left hip. They'll send a man in motion. They give it to Kaiser again. Kaiser lowers his shoulder and trying to push that pile forward to maybe the 5-yard line. He got back to the line of scrimmage, nothing more. Real tough sledding inside the interior of that Port Clinton defensive line has been so good tonight.
Yeah, and that's what they're gonna have to continue to load the box here. And if Vermilion does beat you through the air, you're just gonna have to live with that. But that's the bread and butter. Even without Coons out there, this offensive line, which is a pretty experienced bunch, and these very talented running backs. If you're Port Clinton, you don't want to let them beat you.
Come out in the I formation again. Hooks will take the snap. He's going to keep it himself, but he stumbled and he fell. Oh, he had open space on the left side, but he tripped and he fell at the 8-yard line. Drake Hooks had blocks in front of him. That play was set up to get them in the end zone, but he tripped and fell.
And I mean, nobody saw that coming. Nobody. I'm sure even the Vermilion fan base didn't. Wow.
And now they are setting up for a 25-yard field goal from Micah Smith. He's had plenty of distance throughout the night. Send the snap back, and there's a botched hold. It's a botched hold. They'll throw it right side. The pass is caught at the 6-yard line, but they're not going to get anywhere near enough that they need.
Are we going to have another roughing? There's another flag near where the ball was let go.
Well, let's see. The officials come away from the pile. There was some laundry on the field.
So, once again, two defenders landing near or on Hooks. And I mean, the Sailors have life once again, it appears.
Our head referee, Eric Metzger, is explaining this to Port Clinton head coach Eric Lutolt. And it is a personal foul going against Port Clinton again. That's the second time they've been whistled for that on 4th down on this drive.
In that one, it was a jailbreak scenario where on the hold things go haywire, and I mean guys are just doing whatever they can to close the game out potentially. Wow.
First and goal at the 5. They give it to Isaac Kaiser. He barrels his way right up the middle. He's close. No signal just yet. Looks like he's going to be short. They'll mark him down at the 1-yard line.
Man, oh man, this Port Clinton defense has done everything right except on the 4th downs on this drive. We'll see if that trend continues. But they just keep continuing to give Vermilion chances, and that can only last for so long.
They've got Kaiser's in the I formation again. They'll hand it off to Isaac Kaiser. Kaiser stood up. He won't get there. They'll mark him down for a loss of 1.
That defense, they're showing no quit tonight. No matter what situation they've been put in here, they've just been finding a way. Wow.
Boy, Vermilion's making so much noise. Our camera actually went out for a second. They're shaking the press box. What an electric crowd here on homecoming night in Vermilion. In overtime. 3rd down and goal at the 2 for the Sailors. Less than 10 to go on the play clock. They've got to rush to the line. 5 seconds left on that play clock. I formation again. This time they will give it to Aiden Kaiser. Kaiser's awfully close, pushing the pile close to the goal line. He'll be stopped short at the 1-yard line. So it comes down to 4th down once again.
And both sides, I mean, this is just a war up front. And there's not much push happening either way. They're kind of stalemating, and that's what's leading to the running backs. They don't even really have a chance to jump over the pile in these cases because there's no pile to jump over. I mean, it's just a stalemate up there. And it's buying a lot more time for that defense to find their way into the backfield.
4th down and goal. Drake Cooks will grab the high snap. He's going to give this one to Kaiser. He's cut down in the backfield. He was tackled by Trey Armendariz. And on 4th down, the Sailors can't find a way to reach pay dirt. We remain tied at 21 apiece.
And that's just gut-wrenching because those are spots that all season, I think you have the most confidence of any team in the county. You're punching that in when you have everybody with you. And right there, they get right around 7-8 chances after some of the penalties. And Port Clinton's defense just had an answer every time.
Well, now Vermilion has to find a way to emotionally overcome that and figure something out defensively.
And it's a group in spots on the field like this where Port Clinton doesn't have the whole field to work with. You feel a little bit more confident, but with how they've been able to kind of pick up running the ball in the second half through guys like Meisner and even their quarterback Lees, we'll see if they can respond.
Landon Lees will send the man in motion. It's Wyatt Sifke. They give to Meisner. Meisner tries the middle, and he's tackled at the 18-yard line. He'll gain 2 yards on 1st down.
And he's been pretty reliable as the game's gone on. I mean, not pretty, 3.6 a carry, but it's doing enough here.
Lees will give it to Meisner again, and he's cut down to the backfield. They get to him at the 19-yard line for a loss of 1.
Now, I said he's doing enough. It's to keep them honest where the play action, some of these screens can work, but a lot like we saw on their last drive of the game. I was surprised they went with back-to-back runs then. It ended up paying off with a score. See if it can work out here.
3rd down and 9 for Port Clinton at the 19. Lees looking left. Now he's in some trouble. He gets hit, and he goes down at the 20-yard line. There is a flag on the play. That was in the area where you usually see holding. It is a hold going against Port Clinton. And Coach DeFucci is going to enforce the penalty. They'll do 3rd down all over again, and that's going to make it 3rd down and 20 from the 30-yard line.
And despite the success that Port Clinton's had in the second half through the air, the secondary at times has done well enough for coverage sacks to happen, and even without, if there wasn't a holding there, Chad Ellis able to get home, and that's thanks to some of the coverage on the back end. I believe they're going to fully expect another look down the field here.
Ball placed at the 29, so it's 3rd down and 19. Either way, long ways to go. Vermilion showing pressure. They're going to hand it off to Meisner. Tries to make a cut back toward the middle of the field. He's tackled near the right hash at the 25. Trying to catch Vermilion by surprise there. They get just 4 yards on that, setting up 4th down and long. And timeout is called by Port Clinton. They want to go over the plan of attack here on 4th down. Well, we've seen them pull off some magic in this game before. Can they find a way to do it again?
And how deep into their bag of tricks are they willing to go in one game? So you've seen a couple of them. Likely won't see a kick here. Their junior kicker, Adam Fitt, has only attempted 1 on the season. He was able to hit it, but not from anywhere this far away. And with a play like that on 3rd down, I almost thought to myself for a moment, are they trying to play for the next overtime? I don't know if there's any advantage there, but with the way they can pass the ball, I'm shocked they didn't go for an attempt there, or maybe an intermediate play to set up an easier one on 4th down. And I stand corrected. They're going to give Fitt a shot.
This will be a 42-yard field goal attempt for Adam Fitt. Junior kicker, 5'8", 165. Is he fit for the game winner from the right hash? They'll send the snap back. Fitt's kick is on the way. Does it have the distance? It does not. I think he was a little bit wide to the right as well. So the 42-yard field goal, no good. And we will need another overtime series, at the very least, to try and complete this one.
What a treat. And right now, Port Clinton's going to have to go right back out there on offense and try to figure some things out here. As Vermilion's defense, I mean, I will say they had their number on the ground game, but they didn't even really give themselves a chance to open it up there and let Landon Lease work.
Well, that last defensive series injected a little bit of juice back into the crowd here on the near side. Sailor Nation's been very vocal here tonight. Let's just say that. And as Max mentioned, Port Clinton right back out there again offensively after stalling on their last drive. They'll send the man in motion. It's Miller. They'll hand it off to Miller, trying to get across the edge on the left side. Zach Worth tears him down. Worth with a big tackle for a loss. He was able to send Miller to the grass at the 23-yard line.
And I wasn't sure with the angle we had if he was going to be able to close the gap there on the Speedy Miller, but he got just a grab on that jersey and he wasn't going anywhere.
2nd down. And a long ways to go. Lease facing some pressure. He gets hit, gets away from the defender, fires this to the end zone. It's going to fall incomplete. Somehow, some way, he avoided the sack at the 28-yard line. I'm not sure how he did it, but he did just enough to throw that away.
Well, the interesting thing there, he's looking down the field just trying to get rid of it. I don't know if he thought maybe a receiver was heading that way. There was nobody within 10 yards. He's still in the pocket. Saw a couple raised arms from that Vermilion sideline, so very fortunate that it's just 3rd and 13 here and not 4th and very long.
3rd and 13 at the 23. Lease throws this one to the back of the end zone. The pass is knocked away, incomplete. He was looking for Martez Wilson, but Micah Smith was on the coverage. He was right there with him, stride for stride.
And Smith has kept at it. I will say that. There's been a couple blown assignments in coverage tonight for Vermilion, but he has continued to just come back, keep his head in the game, and right there he played a role in helping break that one up.
I mean, this overtime has had a little bit of everything. A botched snap on a field goal attempt, a 42-yard attempt, multiple penalties on 4th downs, and a 4th down scenario facing Port Clinton here. They seem a little disjointed offensively with a late substitution, and we have a flag thrown right away. The pass was initially completed to Christian Miller, but we had flags before that was snapped back. there were guys all over the place that just didn't look like they knew where they wanted to be, and somebody moved early.
Yeah, there was some shuffling around on the top of the screen there, and just nobody was set up there at the snap of the ball, and I didn't get a chance to see where the play clock was at. That may have played a factor as well.
Lucas Bodie, I think, moved early. He was in the slot.
And we haven't seen him on offense too much to speak of.
Now it becomes 4th down and 19. Landon Lease grabs the snap, facing some pressure, throws it across the middle. The pass is caught by Gavin Cornell, but he's taken down 2 yards short of a first down. Zach Worth on the stop. Great awareness by Zach Worth. He had 2 big tackles in that scenario. The first one to cut down Christian Miller on the tackle for a loss, and a really big one there to get Gavin Cornell 2 yards shy of the sticks.
Yeah, for Port Clinton, I mean, that's the ideal situation. You somehow, some way find a way to get the ball to Cornell, even despite the pressure, and it still is not enough, and that comes back to some of the self-inflicted mistakes near the end of that drive right there. And now the Sailors, they get another chance.
Second overtime, still tied at 21 apiece. Vermilion has the ball at the 20-yard line. They'll give this one to Worth. He's able to work his way through the middle up to the 16.
And right after making that stop on 4th down, not afraid to go right back to him. And there's a lot of hands on hips. A couple guys taking a knee, bent over. I don't blame any of them. It has been a long night.
Both sides kind of have to be thinking, what do we have to do to finish this thing off? They're in the eye again. And someone moved early for Vermilion. It looked like Worth may have flinched in the backfield. Well, the laundry's been an issue, too, for both sides in overtime.
And I was just about to say the penalties down the stretch here have been the difference. And honestly, the only thing keeping this game going.
We certainly appreciate all those of you out there tuned into this one on the Lorain County Sports Network. We have been treated to a fantastic game here tonight. 21-21 is the score. Second overtime between Vermilion and Port Clinton. They'll keep the same personnel on the field here. They run out of the eye again. Hooks rolling out, throws down the field, has a man open. What a catch at the 12-yard line by Micah Smith. Acting like a trapeze artist, tight roping that near sideline, hauling in the pass to set up 3rd down and short.
And Drake Hooks, I mean, we haven't seen him really have a chance to pass it in a while. So the fact that he was able to make that throw on the run, and still somehow Smith able to stay in bounds and set them up here with the best case scenario for a 3rd down at this point that we've seen for anybody in these overtimes.
They say he stepped out at the 13, so it's 3rd down and 3. Hooks will grab the snap. They'll give to Worth. Worth gets inside the 10-yard line, cut down by Miller at the 9, and that'll make it 1st down and goal.
And that run right there will get Worth back over into the positive yardage standpoint, as it's been tough sledding for a lot of guys out there, but most notably him. He continues to keep plunging away at that defense here in overtime.
Zach Worth is at a huge overtime. Worth, a senior, 5'8", 180-pounder. Again, they've had to call the number of a bunch of different guys in that backfield in the absence of Evan Kuntz. Worth, the tailback. Kaiser, the fullback. They give to Worth again. Worth working the middle, and he stopped at the 9.
Now, at this point, you don't want to move too desperately. Obviously, we've seen them make their PATs, and they're getting pretty close to this range. But you almost wonder if they'll go with something here more in the open field. Try to create some separation for one of their athletes. And just try to end this game here.
It's moments like this in our position we keep instinctively looking at the clock, knowing that there's no reason to look at the clock here.
So you've noticed me leading over.
I've done the same thing,
It's not
partner.
that. It's the yard line. It's a game of inches for sure.
It's a keeper. Hooks takes it left side. He's torn down at the 11-yard line. Just couldn't get across the edge. And once again, it was Lucas Bodie, the junior linebacker, who would not let him get across the left edge.
And of course, we saw the similar play in the last overtime, and it looked wide open then because there was nobody accounting for him right there, that far away from the goal line. It left a little bit more time for some defenders to close the gap, even though he's able to stay on his feet there, just too far of a distance to go.
It is 3rd and goal from the 11-yard line. Isaac Kaiser off the left hip of Drake Hooks. Takes the high snap. They'll give to Kaiser, and Kaiser's met right away. He lost a yard on that. They'll stop him at the 12, and they are going to attempt a game-winning field goal. Micah Smith handles the field goal kicking duties, and this will be about a 30-yard attempt, maybe just inside of that.
Wow, this game is just taking a toll physically and mentally on these guys, and it's only fitting we get another chance to see a kick end it right here, just like we did last season.
It was a low snap the last time they attempted one of these. This will be a 29-yard field goal attempt from Micah Smith. Snap down, the hold is on the way. The kick from Smith is on the way, and it is no good. He missed it. 2 missed field goals in overtime, and we are still tied at 21 apiece. Any chance you guys brought a cot up here? We might be here for a while.
We're certainly putting in overtime with these guys, but couldn't be more happy about it. I mean, it feels like it's never going to end the way these defenses are playing. They're stepping up in such a big way right now.
Well, this crowd down below us was just set to explode. And from this angle, it's so hard to tell whether that goes through the uprights or not. So everybody here got excited when it looked like it was kind of close. But everybody on the field, you could tell on the near sideline, they were in disbelief, a little disappointed. And you could see the elation on the far side for Port Clinton.
And those fans, they've been, I mean, both sides, they've been living on every play on the edge of their seat. And we'll get to do it again here. And that's the interesting spot about these overtimes at the high school level. You have to go right back out there for your unit on that side of the ball. So Vermilion, they got to shake off what was a sluggish possession there and try to find a way through.
3rd overtime. Still knotted up at 21. Drake Cooks will have Isaac Kaiser on his right side. Takes the snap, fakes to give to Kaiser, throws this one into the end zone. He's got Myers open. Myers makes the juggling catch in the back of the end zone. Or no. Did he come away with the pick? He did. How in the world did he intercept that pass? Holy moly, what an interception.
It looks like coming away with that one, who was trailing in coverage. I believe it's going to be Christian Miller. Oh, my goodness.
Christian Miller on the interception in the back of the end zone. For a moment there, it looked like that was caught. And indeed, it was caught by someone. It was caught by the defender, Christian Miller.
Well, I figured more than anything that was going to be an incomplete pass. And there was an official on the back line there. He saw it all unfold 5 yards away from him, so clearly he had a great angle at it.
And as we just looked at that replay, it looked like Myers had it, and Christian Miller just tore it out of his hands.
The determination on display from both sides in this game, it's been unbelievable tonight. Wow.
So here comes the Port Clinton offense. Another opportunity to put this away. Lease, time to throw, looking for Christian Miller, and the pass falls incomplete. It was that same matchup we saw a few moments ago. Brock Myers was working on him on the near side.
Yeah, both teams have really seen how difficult it's been to move the ball on the ground, and they're just going for some knockout punches through the air. We'll see. I got to imagine we'll see a couple more tries here.
Defense shifting a bit for Vermilion on 2nd down and 10 at the 20-yard line here in the 3rd overtime. They'll give it to Meisner. Meisner is hit by Daniel Roy. Roy greeted him at the 22-yard line for a loss of 2.
And he's been so timely with those tackles this evening. And he's, as a whole, I mean, both sides, they've been able to live in the backfield here. And I think just those lines of scrimmage, you're not seeing much of a push either way. And it's being left up to running back mano-a-mano with the linebackers.
3rd down and 12 for Port Clinton. Sifke goes in motion to the right side. Lease takes the low snap, throws across the middle. The pass is caught inside the 10-yard line and then dropped. Incomplete. Oh, they had Martell's Wilson, but that was ripped out of his hands. At the last moment, that would have given them a 1st and goal situation.
And Micah Smith, he was beating himself up after the missed field goal earlier. He bounces back in a huge way right there. Is where he's most comfortable on the field, at that cornerback position, recovering beautifully. And he's done that a lot here as the overtimes have gone on.
And they're going to try for another field goal. And this will be a 39-yard attempt from Adam Fitt. He tried one from 42 earlier, trying to put this thing away. Snap goes back. The hold is down. The kick is on the way, and it is no good. So another missed field goal. We've seen a lot of those in overtime. That one from 39 yards away, and it'll take at least a 4th one to finish this here tonight.
In the previous one, missed wide right as well, but they were on the right hash, so you figure maybe giving him some more space to work with over on the left side would have helped open that up for the make. And it's a very high-pressure situation. It's a lot different than Tuesday and Wednesday at practice, setting up from the 20, that's for sure.
There are exceptions to this rule, but, typically when you're talking about a Division IV school and a Division V school, you're normally not attempting field goals from that far away.
No, it's very far and in between, and maybe you have a prospect who you have a lot of faith in, but, man, it feels like this game's never going to end.
So Port Clinton will start this 4th overtime session on offense. Sifke moves in motion. Lease will take the snap, looking left. He's going to fire this one to the back of the end zone, and the pass falls incomplete. Micah Smith on the coverage. They were searching for Martez Wilson again.
And you could tell Vermilion saw that coming. Not only, obviously, Smith man up on him as he has for most of the night, but James Bangle floating over the top and Daniel Roy sitting underneath. They said, you've tried too many of these quick-hitting slants in these plays. We're not letting you try another one.
2nd down and 10. They'll give to Meisner, and Meisner's tripped up at the 19, fell forward. Picked up maybe a yard on that.
And how about Drake Hooks filling in on defense for Evan Coons right now at linebacker, coming up with a huge stop there.
3rd down and 9. A scenario both teams pretty familiar with in overtime. Pass goes across the middle, incomplete. James Bangle knocked it away. A terrific denial by the homecoming king. They were trying to complete that to Gavin Cornell, but Bangle said no, sir.
And, hey, there was some physicality on that play, but they've been letting that fly here in overtime, especially in the back end in coverage. And he also was able to get his left hand out, bat that one down, and remove any doubt right there.
4th down and 9 for Port Clinton. Elliott Laird has sprinted out to put himself in the slot on the near side. He's been fairly involved in that passing game this season for Port Clinton. They'll send him in motion. And now we've got whistles and a timeout called by Port Clinton. No surprise there. Again, they just didn't look very comfortable the way they were aligned. Laird sprinted in very late there to set up in the slot. Then they sent him in motion. And the way he was coming across in motion looked like maybe he was going to be involved in that play. And that's a long ways for a guy to go who's going to get the ball before the ball's even snapped.
Yeah, we've seen it a few times here in overtime alone where there's been some late substitutions on that offensive side for Port Clinton, and I get they're confident rolling in a couple different guys, and they have a lot of playmakers, but in high-pressure situations like this, you want to make sure everybody's on the same page and not too many timeouts to work with. Obviously, you're only working against the play clock, and it's just led to a couple of miscommunications here, and, if you're a Port Clinton fan, you hope it doesn't come back to bite you.
So coming out of the timeout, they'll bunch 3 receivers on the far side of the field. The pass will go left side. Caught by Cornell. He's going to throw this one into the end zone. The pass falls incomplete. They were trying to get that to Elliott Laird. They tried the double pass as they did earlier, but that time Vermilion had it covered very well.
You could see the entire secondary reading it instantly. Is off the line of scrimmage there. Meisner, I don't even think he tried to sell it. He was just trying to gain ground, get downfield, and the Sailors defense figured it out pretty quickly.
You may be looking at this and thinking, boy, it's only 20 yards. That just seems like a very, very tall mountain to climb for both offenses in these overtime periods.
Oh, my gosh. The way the field has been condensed, it's really affected Port Clinton's offense. But without your top runner in the game, I mean, there have just been a lot of 7, 8, right now 9-man boxes for the defense.
There was some early movement for Vermilion. And we could talk about how there have been a lot of penalties on both sides in overtime. There clearly have. I think fatigue certainly has set in for both teams.
Yeah, there's a lot weighing on your mind, as is with situational decision-making here and what you're trying to do as a player. But it just coupled on top of the fact that you're playing almost a game and a half right now in one night.
Week 7 of the high school football season. A thriller here in Vermilion. 4th overtime. First out and 15 with the ball at the 25 now for the Sailors. Hooks rolling out right, throws right side, diving catch is made on the sideline of the 16-yard line. Aiden Kaiser makes a nice grab for a gain of 9.
Boy, did they need that, as they were set back pretty far there, especially for their offense. And just a great job rolling his pads under the ball there, as Kaiser didn't even have a chance to hit the ground.
They had the timing down on that route. A nice pitch and catch to pick up about 4 yards more than they had lost on that penalty, bringing up 2nd down and 6 here. They come out in the I formation. The give will go to Worth, but he is met immediately at the 16-yard line. So many different Redskins in on that stop. Liam Johnson, one of the first ones there to greet him.
And it's interesting. These defensive lines, you can tell it's not really affected them as much. And I think for Port Clinton's case, that's because it's not all offensive linemen over there. As obviously, we've got the one in Julian Curry, but there's a couple guys who are not exclusive to offensive and defensive line, and they maybe have just a little bit more gas in the tank right now. We mentioned everybody's tired, but maybe just a couple extra plays off here and there and not fighting in the trenches on the other side of the ball is going a long way.
Hooks handed it off to Kaiser. Kaiser was hit the second he took that handoff. The penetration was instant from that Port Clinton defense. And here's another 4th down scenario.
And, you know, they're maybe a yard or two closer than they were last time when they tried to kick, so maybe try to leave it up to Micah Smith again.
That's exactly what they're going to do. Micah Smith trying for a game winner. This a 35-yard field goal attempt from the middle of the field. They send the snap back. The kick is on the way from Smith. It's got plenty of distance, and it is no good. He missed it.
I mentioned 5-mile-an-hour winds at the start of the night. They have to have increased. Every kick has sailed just right of those uprights.
So it will take us, at the very least, a handful of overtime sessions here tonight. A lot of field goal attempts. I don't know that I really expected that in overtime. Again, when you're talking about Division I, Division II, and to some degree Division III schools, sometimes you've got guys with big legs. The distance hasn't really been the issue for either one of these kickers in overtime, but we have a missed 42-yarder, a missed 29-yarder, a 39-yarder, and a 35-yarder. Those are long for high school.
Oh, certainly. And in a pressure cooker situation like this, it feels like another 5 yards in there.
Vermilion on offense to start the 5th overtime session. Pass goes across the middle. Caught by Aiden Saunders, the tight end. He takes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Sailors! A 20-yard touchdown pass to the tight end, Aiden Saunders, in the 5th overtime session. And the Sailors have a 27-21 lead.
And we didn't have a chance to break it down because of the quick turnaround earlier, but on the Brock Myers pass that was intercepted in the back of the end zone, Saunders was running free underneath at around the 5-yard line. They didn't throw it to him right there. They go back to it. Very similar play, crossing route over the middle, carrying his way into the end zone. Wow.
Extra point on the way from Micah Smith, and it is good. 28-21, Vermilion leads in overtime number 5 The very first play, a 20-yard touchdown pass to Aiden Saunders from Drake Hooks. And now this Sailor defense being called on one more time to finally try and put this one away.
You've had 4 stops in you. Why not a 5th one? But easier said than done. And now what maybe has been a slightly conservative offense at time in these OTs in Port Clinton, definitely we're going to see everything they've got now as they open it up here, trying to keep this game alive.
I have never come to the end of my legal pad on my score sheet where I keep track of drives and scores. I have one last line to work with. Ooh. What a game this has been. Vermilion on top, 28-21. Overtime number 5. Lease will send Cornell in motion. Takes the snap, throws to the end zone, and the pass goes incomplete. Great coverage by Micah Smith. He was working on Christian Miller.
And Smith, he was with him step for step right there. May not even have had to extend to bat that one down, as he was in better spot for it than Miller was.
Lease looking left side again. Caught by Cornell. Cornell is hit at the 16 and dropped. They do pick up 4. And you've got to believe that Gavin Cornell has to be target number 1 with Christian Miller not far behind.
Yeah, and that's the tough part about this. And, you know, it would honestly work out better for Vermilion if they're on the same side of the field. And Miller's not even out there now, so all eyes on Cornell at the top of your screen.
Lease is in trouble. He gets hit. He somehow eludes 2 defenders, picks up the first down as he's tackled at the 9. It looked like Vermilion had him in the backfield, but Lease kept that play alive with his legs, and it's 1st and goal.
And we haven't seen too many designed runs for him, obviously more of a pocket passer, but he's shown the ability to extend these plays, keeping them alive, and now keeping their chances alive to win here, or at least tie it up.
Lease looking across the middle, throws, and the pass is caught by Christian Miller. Touchdown! What a pass by Lease, threading the needle again, getting that to Christian Miller, a 9-yard touchdown pass. And they are an extra point away from knotting this game up unless they decide to go for 2.
And I mean, you can't do much better if you're Brock Myers in coverage. He's right on his back there. Aiden Kaiser was even underneath. And we've seen that work out at times before when they, in a sense, double. But just the perfect pass from Landon Lease.
Timeout is called by Port Clinton. And you have to imagine the wheels are spinning. Eric Lutolt, the head coach, probably thinking that this is going to end one way or the other on this very next play. Otherwise, I don't think he would have called a timeout there.
No, and guys are really, the injuries are stacking up. The bumps and bruises are being added, and at some point you just want to try to find a way to get out of here with the win. And otherwise, we could be heading for 5 more overtimes at this rate.
By the time we wrap up, John Guzik and company might be already done.
Is that a record? I don't know if we've ever seen anybody here with WOBL, WDLW, or Lorain County Sports Network outlast those guys in the studio.
So the Port Clinton offense will come back onto the field. They will go for 2. It all comes down to this. Lease working out of the shotgun. Beckett Meisner off his right hip. They'll send a man in motion. He takes the snap, throws right side, caught by Gavin Cornell, breaks a tackle, and he's able to get across the goal line. The 2-point conversion is good. Port Clinton wins it 29-28 over Vermilion. It looked like they had him tackled at the 1-yard line, but Gavin Cornell somehow was able to get away and get across the goal line, and this one finally ends.
And both sides, they left it all out on the field there. It's a shame somebody had to lose that ball game, but just an incredible display of what Friday Night Football is all about.
Wow, what a game here in Vermilion. Port Clinton comes out on top, 29-28, and 5 overtimes. We need to step aside and catch our breath for just a minute, and then we'll come back to wrap this one up for you. It's our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week, live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. What a game here tonight at Vermilion. The Sailors fall in 5 overtimes, 29-28. Port Clinton wins it. They go for 2 after scoring a touchdown. The first 4 overtime possessions resulted in no points. There were a lot of missed field goals and many missed opportunities. Both teams scored. In the 5th overtime, a 20-yard touchdown pass to Aiden Saunders from Drake Cooks made it 28-21 Vermilion. And just a few moments later, a 9-yard touchdown pass on an incredible toss from Landon Lease. Sophomore to sophomore, he found Christian Miller on the TD pass to make it 28-27. And on the 2-point conversion, Landon Lease found Gavin Cornell. He was able to spin out of a tackle at the 1-yard line and got across the goal line for the final play of this game. And Port Clinton wins it 29-28. Max, this is a game we'll be talking about for a long time.
Yeah, it's safe to say I've personally never seen a high school game like this one in my life, and I don't know if I will for a while, but just incredible effort from both sides. And our producer, Ed, when he mentioned it in the break, nobody has any reason to hang their head on either side. Just an incredible display of grit and determination from everybody out there.
No, and you're right. Nobody has anything to hang their head about, but you know this is a gut punch. You knew that whoever lost this was going to have their heart ripped out for sure. Port Clinton with the win goes to 4-3, and for the Sailors, they fall to that very same record, dropping this one. And, you know, we mentioned going into this game, here we are, Week 7, playoff picture really beginning to take shape. It will be a long road to get into that field of 12 in Division 5, Region 18 for Port Clinton. But this win certainly could go a long ways in at least getting them in a much better position. This loss was a big one for the Sailors. They came in 8th, Division 4, Region 14. But this is one that's certainly going to be a bit of a gut punch when it comes to those playoff hopes.
Yeah, it stings. And in a dramatic one like this, you have no idea how a team can react in moving into the next week. It's going to be all about how they respond here in the coming days, as it's going to be a tough one to recover from. It not only mentally, but a lot of attrition happening on the field as well.
Well, we have some awards to give away during the post-game show, and we already gave one away a few moments ago as we handed our Zabo Apparel Company T-shirt off to Sam Sovakul, and he is running that down right now to the quarterback of the Port Clinton Redskins in Landon Lease. The sophomore was terrific, especially under pressure. Zabo Apparel Company, be game day ready all year long with Zabo Apparel Company. We are always geared up with Zabo Apparel Company gear, and we look forward to doing that again next Friday night. But, boy, how about the performance of Landon Lease?
Yeah, he was incredible, and it's going to segue right into our Al Januzzi CPA stats of the game, because you have to tell him to tell his story of being player of the game. 21 of 40, recovers from that first half interception to throw for 327 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just an incredible showing from him tonight.
Yeah, he was fantastic. And again, he came through with some big passes where it really mattered the most. Keep in mind, it was 14-0 Vermilion halfway through this one. He led 2 really nice drives to tie this thing up at 14 apiece on a 36-yard touchdown pass to Gavin Cornell. That was their first score. It came on their very first drive of the half. And on their very next drive, they needed just 3 plays to march right down the field, this time on a 45-yard strike to Martez Wilson to make it a 14-14 contest. So many big moments in this game. So many fourth down opportunities, it felt like, on both sides. There were a number of missed field goals for both teams in overtime. Again, you're asking young kids that don't normally come onto the field to kick field goals in those scenarios to do things under extreme pressure. This game had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, a lot of unorthodox situations like that, and playing what felt like 6 quarters, I'm sure. And it's just, said before, shame somebody had to lose, but, when you come out of a game like that on top, it just does wonders to your confidence.
Let's take a look at our Valley Chevrolet drive of the game. Keep on driving with Valley Chevrolet in Wellington. Even this one's tough here tonight because there were a lot of really good ones. I think you have to go all the way back to the last 2 drives in regulation. For Vermilion, they went down the field on 13 plays, 82 yards. They scored the go-ahead touchdown, a 1-yard touchdown plunge from Isaac Kaiser to make it 21-14. But on the very next drive, 8 plays, 68 yards. On 4th down and goal, a trick play where Gavin Cornell lined up as the quarterback of the shotgun, and he completed a touchdown pass to Martez Wilson to tie it at 21 apiece. That sent us into overtime where we felt like we entered a totally different dimension.
Yeah, it showed the desperation right there to find a way to stay in the game and to tie it up, and just led to some really great football, a little bit of sloppy football there in the overtimes, but like we said, that's going to happen when you extend a game that far.
Well, yeah, and then we mentioned that when all the flags were flying, you had to think that fatigue was beginning to set in on both sides. Sometimes that puts you in a position where you start to make mistakes you wouldn't normally make because, look, you've been out there for a long time. Most of these guys are playing both ways, and you figured that you're going to be both mentally and physically exhausted. That definitely showed in this one. Well, again, your final in 5 overtimes, Port Clinton, a 29-28 win over Vermilion. Next week, Lorain County's 4 horsemen will make our way down to Grafton, where the Midview Middies will be home to the Elyria Pioneers in an SWC clash. Our last 3 games in the regular season are SWC contests. We look forward to calling that one for you next Friday night. Max, any final thoughts from you before we say thanks and say goodnight?
Man, it's going to be difficult for any game for the next couple of years to live up to this one, but that's what makes high school football so exciting. Can't wait to do it again next week and to close out this regular season with you guys.
Yeah, well, what an absolute blast here tonight. As you mentioned a couple times already, look, this was going to be a tough one for anyone to lose the way those overtime sessions went down, but, this was fun. You and I talked off air about how we hadn't done a high school overtime game just yet. Well, we made up for that with 5 different overtime series in this one. What a thriller here in Sailor Nation. All right, that's going to wrap things up for us here in Vermilion. Plenty of people to thank before we sign off. First and foremost, a big thanks to all of you for tuning into this one. Boy, there was a lot of game to tune into tonight on the Lorain County Sports Network, so we appreciate you making us a part of your Friday night festivities. Want to thank Andy Stillman and company up here in the press box for their help and hospitality in preparation for tonight's game. We always love coming to Vermilion. They treat us very well up here, and we certainly enjoy coming to call these games. The hospitality is top-notch here in Vermilion, so a big thanks to everybody in the athletic department up here in Vermilion. My thanks to the rest of the broadcast crew as well. Sam Sovacool, lights out as always on the camera. The Exterminator, El Capitan, and our director, the man who got us on and kept us on throughout the night, Edwin Vereen, doing a wonderful job as he always does. And my thanks to Max Drummond, the assistant sports director now. We didn't mention that throughout the course of the broadcast, but congratulations, my man. Well-deserved promotion. Great job out of you with the colorful analysis throughout the night as well. That's going to do it. One final time, your final score. In 5 overtimes, Port Clinton comes from behind to defeat Vermilion 29-28. For Sam Sovacool, Edwin Vereen, and Max Drummond, this is Andy Bolbarch saying thanks again for tuning in to our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network.